Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a Geek First Podcast special episode. My name is Travis Snell. Man, do we got a good one. We are talking Oscar predictions. Who are we? You'll find out in a second, but I want to give a quick shout out that this Sunday, well, actually, first Golden Geeks, the winners are going to be announced this Friday, so check out that cast. But this Sunday, myself, Dylan, Emily, Connor, you've never met him before, but that's going to happen. Some other guests. We're going to be doing an Oscar watch along, so go on to Facebook and tune in on that. It'll be probably 4:30 when we'll start the stream up. Just whether you're on Twitter, Facebook, the podcast, go there. We're going to have a fun time talking about the winners, talking about the losers, just some shenanigans, seeing what the night unfolds. So that's what we're going to be doing. But I am very happy and lucky to have a partner with me today on these Oscar predictions. For OG fans, you may know him, but if not, this is a man who was on the podcast a few times, but he co-founded Dynamic Duo, which got rolled into Geek First, and then he co-founded Rant Rave Repeat, which is a paid exclusive show. I don't think he even knows that. For Rant Rave Repeat, it got rebranded as After 9, and people have to pay to see that. And Liam, people actually pay to see it. So we have some of the best fans out there, and I spoiled it, but Liam Grogan is the guest here. How are you doing, Liam?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I have no idea that you were actually getting paid to do this stuff.
I don't know either. We have some of the best fans. There's the people that on Patreon. If you didn't know, it's After 9, and it's an exclusive show that's just there for $1. You get it. We do once a month, and we do a bunch of other content. But yeah, this month it's funny that Kyle has not been on in quite a while. So you're on tonight, and then Kyle's joining us for this After 9 when we're talking top 10 artists with our favorite album.
Oh,
Yeah. So actually, I can't say. I don't want to spoil anything because it's paid content, so I can't. But I'll say that David Bowie appears somewhere in that list for me, quite high.
Okay, I'd be curious to know because I'm a huge Bowie fan. What is your favorite Bowie album? Or would that be giving too much away?
That's giving too much away, but I'll say it's undecided. I'm trying to figure out right now because it's tough. You got to pick one. Like obviously, you can give honorable mentions, but I got to pick one album, so it's that's tough. But just like Rant Rave Repeat, After 9, it's like a very personal one, and we folded it in and rebranded it. So before, because it was just Kyle and I, but then we rebranded it to like bring everyone else in, and then Kyle was on the podcast for a while, but then he got like super flaky, and he's like, I think it's just better if I'm like a guest. I'm like, I think so too. But the good thing was we did bring him on to replace Kirkland, and then Kirkland moved back to Kelowna, so it all worked out in the end, you know. The only thing is we're back to 6 white people, so I don't like that because anytime something comes up, people can be like, oh, just these white people, they know nothing, So
but it's also Kelowna. Where's the talent pool that you're drawing from?
it's tough. It's pretty white based in this town. So, but what we're talking about is the Oscar prediction. So Liam and I, if you've not listened to this podcast before, me and Liam, big film fans. That's kind of how we became friends through Kyle. And we always love talking about these movies and whatnot. And we did them for 2 years in a row. I'm going to brag a little bit. I've beat you each time. I will take the brag away by saying the last time was by 2 points, and I think most of those end up by like documentary or animated shorts. So that's what always usually decides is like who guessed better where. But what do you feel about what do you feel of the nominations at all? Because we haven't talked film at all. Like we talk very lightly and stuff, but like we just talked about like 20 minutes of just personal stuff. So film wise, and I don't know because you've been through a road as far as when I know you. I feel like your film taste changed quite a bit each year, I feel like Liam, you never, either you're gonna get like I love Guardians of the Galaxy or you're gonna get superhero fatigue, Liam. I never know what day it's gonna be.
No, you know what it's going to be. I think there's a couple films that should not have even been nominated to begin with. I think they're. I'm not going to say they're garbage films, but they're not good in a way. But I don't think this was a weak year for film. I know a lot of people were saying that it was a weak year for film. I think it was a weak year for blockbusters, but not for film.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
The films I've ever seen were indie movies this year, like First Reformed, which didn't get nominated for Best Picture, just I think Best Original Screenplay. Which I think is a shame.
Yeah, that's about it. And I know lots of people wanted Hawk to get an acting one, and
I'm real in that movie.
I will not lie and say that I did not see it just because I was waiting on it getting nominated, and I probably will see it eventually, but once the nominations happen, I started watching movies that had been nominated. And there's still a few, like you have some, I've seen all the 8 nominees, but there's still some acting categories I've not seen, and I'll be upfront when we get to those. But I think honestly I don't have a problem over like the whole year. I think the thing is for me is I don't have too many movies, and I'll take the comic book ones out because I'm a little biased. Too many movies I go, man, that's a movie I'm gonna love forever. we're probably going to talk about Star is Born a little bit, but other than that, I think it was I don't think it was a bad year like people are saying, but I don't know if it was an outstanding year. I think I'll say that.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
The one thing that really struck me was like there's a lot of movies that I saw that I did not think were good movies,
Mm-hmm.
but were acted very well. Like
Yeah.
the performance this year was great, but I think a lot of the movies themselves as a whole were not near as strong as they have been in years past.
Mm-hmm.
But I know we're going to get into that when we get into acting and Best Picture and all that stuff.
Well, let's get into it. So for the fans, we're going to start at the very top and do Best Picture and work our way down because that's where the good discussion is. We'll talk quickly about, Best Short and stuff like that, but that's just going to be me and Liam talking about the names, and that's usually how me and Liam guess is like, oh, this sounds interesting. This year I'm actually a little more experienced on documentaries, so I might have edge there, but for the most part, I've not seen any short films or anything like that, so we'll get there.
Yeah, it's normally I always see one or two of them. I've seen most of the best animated shorts.
Mm-hmm. Really? Oh, so you got a big edge on me, I think.
But it's live action shorts that I got nothing. I got nothing on those.
Great. You want to start this off then?
So are we going to go through? We're going to start obviously with Best Picture. Are you just going to name them all, or would you want to go through all of them?
Yeah, Liam, I'll name them all. Look, Liam's been back on this podcast for what are we at? 9 minutes. He's already trying to be the host. Been gone for like a year and a half. Oh, you gonna read them? Yeah, of course I'm gonna read them. I'm the host. Some of these new people are like, who is this guy that he's bringing in? You are.
I got all my notes. I have so much things to say. I'm ready to go.
I have bullet points too, but you are in that. You're that guest star that like, if you weren't a fan of the first few seasons of the show and they come in, you're like, who's this guy? Like, I don't know, and you got to go back. Like, that's you now. You've been gone so long.
I'm like the Dr. Dre to your Eminem.
If I was not so white, I'd probably get that reference more. But I think I get what you're throwing down.
Dr. Dre was the guy.
I watched Straight Outta Compton. Okay, so best film. Here we go. And if anyone wants to follow along, you don't need to. But I'm using HollywoodReporter.com. So here we go in alphabetical order. Best Picture, and I can't wait to talk about this one. Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Roma, Green Book, A Star is Born, and Vice. So, Leon, I'm just going to give you the floor and let you say what you want about any of these films before we make our predictions, because we'll do the same thing of like who we want to win and who we think will win. But right now, just let me know, because I don't know your thoughts on a lot of these. I know two specifically, but the most of them I don't. So the floor is yours on anything you want to go to.
Okay. So let's start. We'll start with the bottom and we'll go up, because obviously Black Panther, I assume we're going to have the most to say about, so we'll save that for last.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Vice was kind of disappointing. I thought it was carried by the performances,
okay.
But after The Big Short, I was kind of expecting a little bit more out of an Adam McKay film. Like, I think Christian Bale's great in it.
Yep.
I think Sam Rockwell's really good in it. Steve Carell, he's doing great. He's actually one of my favorite actors in Hollywood right now. Every time he's in a movie, I'm like, I'll go see it. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, like, I'm a huge political junkie. That is the one thing that I follow more than just about anything. But
I'm with you.
I knew the story. I know about Donald Rumsfeld. I know
Donald Trump's coming. Don't worry.
I know how Dick Cheney kind of took over, and he was more so the power behind that.
Yeah.
White House. It was just, I don't know. That was kind of boring.
So for me, that's why I want to ask you, because for me, I didn't find The Big Short boring, but I didn't love it as much as everybody else. So for me, I was surprised how much I liked Vice. I think I agree with you that it's not. I did put in my top 10 because I like the ballsiness of it. Some people are divided on it, but I really like the last half where they get into like, you vote for me, you made that choice. I like that because I feel like they tried to go as down the middle as possible, and then eventually they lean to, yeah, he's kind of a monster. He did all these terrible things, because they can't not talk about that stuff, right? So that's what I like, because I thought for a while it might just be, it's just going to be about how Dick Cheney is a terrible person. He is, but they try to flesh out the monster. Not like make him sympathetic, but try to show some motives, or at least what he was doing. And like I said, I liked the hard edge, but there's so many people that feel the same way of you, so I feel like it just struck better with me, because I actually did put in my top 10 for being ballsy, and I love certain things like the credits in the middle of the movie. That was so much fun. Bale was good. I'll save my conversation for Bale when we get to Best Actor, but yeah, I liked it, but it's not a film that when you say that, I'm not gonna fight you to the death. Like, there's some stuff, I mean, like, oh my god, like when La La Land came out or something like that, like even with Black Panther, when we get to it, I understand your points, and that's the same thing with Vice. That I think it is kind of a divisive film, and I honestly am a little surprised it did get on the ballot to me just because it was so divisive from like people I talked to and critics. So I'm surprised it's here. I'm happy because I really enjoyed the film, but
I'd say that I'm not surprised because you're right, it is divisive. But even the people that didn't like it didn't say it was a bad movie.
yeah,
It was like, it wasn't my thing, but it's still a really good movie. And I think that's why it's ended up is that nobody, like, I guarantee you, this was not a first ballot. Like, okay, what movies do we have to put in? Oh, Feist. Yes, that's
yeah.
up there. It's a movie. It's like when they were kind of collecting everything. Everybody's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I think it's a movie. If there was still five, I don't think it would have made it.
No, God, no,
No,
no.
no. I think it could have made it for like maybe some like screenplay or editing and stuff, but I don't think it would have made Best Picture. And I don't think McKay. I'm surprised McKay got a Best Director. We'll talk about that after. I'm very surprised about that. But
Yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah,
to say the least, because I thought there was some far better directing this year.
yeah. So what film you want to talk about next?
We'll do A Star Is Born.
Okay.
Oh my God, I loved A Star Is Born.
So good.
I'll spoil my best pick for supporting actor. It's Sam Elliott. He's incredible. There's this scene, you know, when he's so right after Bradley Cooper kind of is like, no man,
the car
imitate, and all Sam Elliott does is
yeah.
turn around. I like burst into tears.
Oh, I was there too. God. Yeah.
And like, yeah, Adam Driver, he was fantastic in Black Klansman, but like, holy shit, man, Sam Elliott was so good. Like that whole movie, I love the soundtrack. I love the story. I thought it had some great real life parallels between Lady Gaga's career about being a pop star, but that's what I like. She's like, this is what I want to be. Where I have A Star Is Born. Yeah, it's all about just what did I write here? Deeply emotional tale for what we do for the people that we love and how the world sees us and how we want the world to see us. And I just thought it was a beautiful movie, and I was really surprised that Bradley Cooper directed it. And
yeah,
I thought I was surprised. Like it was just great. Like did not expect to be blown away like I was. I was expecting it to be like, do you remember when Hairspray came out? Probably what, like 8-9 years ago?
In like 2007. Well, be careful. Your dates aren't always the greatest, but I think it's like 2007-ish.
So, it's about 10 years ago.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I remember seeing it like, that was a lot of fun. It was a great musical. And then 6 months later, nobody really pays attention to it that morning. Nobody really cares. I don't think this is that type of movie. I think this movie is going to keep going, especially because Shallow. Oh my God!
Oh,
Can you get that out of your head?
No, you hear that every day.
I like it so much.
Even though not my favorite song on the album, my favorite song.
Oh.
What is yours?
Mine's Maybe It's Time.
Oh, maybe it's time to let the old ways. Yeah, mine is Black Eyes. I think that's now I'm worried about. But yeah, I love it. Just as good rock song and whatnot. I think with Cooper, which we'll talk about, we're directing a little bit, but he's not even in it, so can't really talk about him there. I think with actors, you just never know what you're going to get when they turn into a director, right? You never know what type of director they're going to be, because with Cooper, I always thought he was a very talented actor, but I didn't think he had that in. I'm the same as you. It's funny when we all talk about stuff, like when we get to Black Panther and Roma, me and Liam are different on a lot of feelings on that, but it's funny. It reminds me the same year as La La Land, where you liked stuff and I didn't like stuff of certain movies, but we're like, oh, but La La Land, that's our favorite, right? Like, oh yeah, that's the same as Star Is Born. Star Is Born is like, that'd be my want, obviously. I don't get into my prediction after, but I loved it from top to finish. I've seen it 3 times now, and every time it does have that La La Land effect on me, and I think I've said it before that I like it a little bit more just because I like a bit more darker stuff, just because I just kind of like that edge. So I'm with you, man. I love that movie. So
yeah, and like. And I was like, I love Lady Gaga, and I think she needs to be in more movies.
Oh, she will be.
The first kind of like major acting that I saw from her was from American Horror Story.
And she killed it.
I thought it was a shitty season, but I thought she was fantastic in it. Well, just like every American Horror show, the first half you're like, whoa, okay, I like this, and the second half you're like, oh, you're stupid and don't know how to wrap up your stories that you've set up.
American Horror Story is just like a bad relationship. You meet the person, it starts great, and then you see signs of like, this could be going bad, but I'll get through it. Why is there vampire children? This doesn't make sense. Yeah, like this could be a red flag, but I'll keep going with this relationship. Then at the end, you're just like, why did I even bother? I didn't watch the newest season other than the when they went back to Murder House. I just cheated and jumped to that episode because I love season 1.
I gave up.
Yeah.
Like, no, you burned me too many. It's like The Walking Dead. You burned me. No.
Isn't it funny that the American Horror Story is now a Disney show?
Oh, we can get into how much I despise Disney and them buying up properties.
Maybe let's save that. Let's save that later. Let's get to the categories first. So, okay, so we've talked Feist, Star Is Born. What do you want to do next?
So Green Book is next. I thought Green Book was solidly mediocre. it was just I thought it was just okay.
Mm-hmm.
Viggo Mortensen and I always get his
Mahershala.
name wrong. What is it?
Mahershala. Mahershala.
Mahershala.
Now you're making me screw up. Mahershala, I think.
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
Great in it. I thought it was great. I just thought it seemed like a really shallow storytelling. And then when you look at the director being one of the Farrelly brothers, you're like, yeah, this was the best movie that you could have made. But I think if we go back to 5 movies, I don't think it's getting nominated. But I think it's great. And I think the performances in it are fantastic. But I think the overall, as a entirety of its movie, it didn't move me as much as other films did. I don't think it's bad. I just thought it was okay.
So before I talk about Green Book, looking at the movies, if it was down to 5, what would you think would be the 5?
Black Klansman, Favorite, Roma, Stars Born, and
because I think Green Book would be in there.
Well, can I pick one that's not on the list?
What? No, just these ones.
If I have to do what's on the list,
yeah.
Vice would be my 5th.
Really? You liked Vice more than Green Book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think Christian Bale, and I know you love Christian Bale, so I know you're gonna agree with me on this one. He's just so watchable.
He is.
Everything he does, and I know once again I'll bring up your other man crush, Fassbender. Just when they're on screen, you just can't help but not look at them.
Unless they're in Assassin's Creed.
Don't worry, nobody looked at it.
I had to.
That was a piece of shit of a movie.
Yeah, we'll talk about Bale. I think for me, Green Book would have made in the 5. So I was waiting to see it, and then I've heard I heard it it was very praised at the festivals, and then when it came out, you kind of heard backlash of Viggo saying some dumb stuff, and the director, and then you heard all the people being like, "Oh, it's not really a true tale," blah blah. Which that one doesn't affect me as much because it's a movie. If I want the true tale, I do want a documentary, but I understand the family's concerns, so I get that. So I was going in expecting kind of how you're feeling, and I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's one of my all-time favorite movies, but it's maybe a new Christmas movie for me, to be honest. I think the thing that I like is I think Mahershala Ali is becoming what you're just talking about with Bale and Fassbender, where I can just watch him. And I think his stuff for the movie, I like Viggo a lot. Honestly, we were talking about Lord of the Rings before this cast.
It was a little weird at times.
Yeah, a little, but I'm not from New York, and New Yorkers have said that it's great, right? So maybe it's just that sounds so authentic. It sounds weird to us in the movie New York version, but all the stuff from Mahershala Ali, I really like. I can agree because you've brought up and other people have brought up that it does feel kind of like it's tackling racism with kid gloves. And I was like that. I was ready to just pounce on it. But I think what I liked is I just liked those two together so much. Their chemistry was so good. Their comedic scenes. I just love all the stuff Mahershala's character goes through. And it's just this toss-up of him being black and a gay man. And that scene, and we'll get to supporting actor, but that scene I think they'll probably use it for the Oscar reel, but they're outside the car, and it's Ali just being like, if I'm not man enough, and if I'm not black enough, then what I am. There's just some key moments I really like. I really love the end of the movie when he goes to the family. I was just pulling for them the whole time. So I can agree with you. Same thing. It's not anything that there's too many films on here that I'm super passionate about, but I just ended up enjoying it. I don't know why. It's one of those Oscar movies. I think that just when you kind of look at it, it's a little cookie cutter Oscar. It just worked on me. It just did. It just got me.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Cookie cutter. You watch it and you're like, okay, I get why people like this. I think it's tackling racism with a little bit of kid gloves.
I can agree. Yeah, I think if it wasn't those two actors,
it doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
because I don't think it was too important to the story. Whereas, opposed if you're telling the actual historical events directly impact the plot and you change them,
yeah,
it takes into context. But this one was you're taking some things out of context But to me, the movie wasn't about his life. It was kind of about their relationship, which is why I'll give it a bit of a pass. But I think that movie is entirely carried by their two performances.
I agree, 100%. Yeah.
Performances, it doesn't matter. I don't think Peter Farrelly is a good enough director to kind of just to overcome that.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see what he does next because now he's done his first big drama thing. But I agree with you. I think if it was either two people that aren't as good as acting or people that didn't, just for some reason they didn't have the chemistry, I wouldn't enjoy that as much. So, all right, so Green Book. So what else do we got? We got a favorite left. We got do favorite because let's do favorite and Black Klansman because I think then the last three will be a little more controversial. So what did you feel about the favorite, the one you've half watched? You're telling me.
I've only watched the first half of it. So my feelings of this movie are based that if the second half of this movie is this exact same quality. It doesn't like all of a sudden go weird and they go to space or some stupid shit.
It's funny you should mention.
Oh no, Olivia Colman
Mm-hmm.
is so damn good in this.
She's really good.
And I think Rachel Wise is incredible. I think Emma Stone's one of those actresses that I always forget can act.
Yeah.
Kind of like Brad Pitt, where you're almost famous for being yourself, and then you see them and you're like, oh yeah, you are really good. And I think it's great. Have you seen Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Lobster?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up because I know you're a big fan of this director. I am too. Like, I know I liked The Lobster a lot, and Killing Sacred Deer, I liked it. I didn't like it as much as I was hoping I was going to, but I like his style. But I think you're a much bigger fan than I am of him.
Yeah, it's I just enjoy it. I love the way that he directs. And to me, he is a director with a very unique style, and he has a very unique story to tell. And to me, that's what I really don't like about some of the other ones that we're going to get on this list that we haven't.
Yeah.
Is that I don't feel there's an artistic. It feels like a movie that's made by committee. And this one it's just great. I don't know if it's going to win Best Picture. I don't think it will, but I hope they win some acting awards because I think everyone in this is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. When you finish it, let me know. Because for me, I enjoyed it. Same thing. This was lower tier. I think I enjoyed this one the least out of his 3 movies, to be honest. I liked the weirdness of the other 2 more because I just like that. This is like...
This one is far more accessible.
Well, yeah, this one, if I were to give any one of his movies to my mom, this is going to be it, right? So, like, I'm not giving The Lobster. I'm sure it's not giving him Killing of a Sacred Deer. So, yeah, for me, I love the dialogue. The performances were good, but it's a movie that I've watched and I've seen it and I will never need to see it again, if that makes any sense. It didn't leave a lasting impression on me. I like the characters, but not enough that I gleamed on anybody. And when you get to the end, tell me, because for me, the ending was very disappointing. It feels like there's a rise in action, and it feels like there's some stuff that maybe should happen, and it just kind of doesn't. And for me, the ending is just kind of a thud, and it left me like most movies. If you have a bad ending, kind of sour taste in your mouth, and that's kind of what happened. It's not a thing that ruined it for me, but it was just kind of like, oh, like that's it, and this is where we're going. All right, and that was and I kind of got the point the ending's going for, but I think it just didn't land. And like I said, it felt like there was a lot left on the table they could have done to give me more satisfactory of an ending, and it just didn't. It just feels like I was reading a book and someone ripped the last chapter out, and I just and I don't have any more of these chapters, and the book's not in print anymore, so I'll never know what happened to poor little Junior, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to do Bohemian Rhapsody next?
Yeah, because I think you and me are the same on this one. I think you might.
Piece of shit.
Okay, so you go because you think the movie's a piece of shit.
Yeah, it was. So I saw this exact same movie called Dewey Cox.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal that from Honest Trailers.
Yeah, I watched it today too. I thought so.
I was watching it and I was making those jokes like he's got to sit and watch his whole life flash before his eyes before he performs, and then he does it, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with this is it was very much a product to sell things as opposed to Bryan Singer actually having an artistic vision. To me, it was cookie cutter, and they took the most uninteresting things about the Queen story, and that's what they made a movie about. You know, it's not that interesting. A rock band, like really, if we want to talk about on film.
Well, in the world too.
Yeah, and like watching a Canadian who played Austin Powers.
Mike Myers.
Mike Myers being in it, and like, oh, ha, okay, yeah, I've seen Wayne's World too.
Yeah.
I just thought it was boring. I thought it was paint by numbers in the worst possible way.
Okay.
It felt like a whole bunch of people were like, oh, if you're gonna do it, you need to do this. Oh, but you can't do that. You need to do it this. Oh, you got to clean this up.
Well, that was the band for sure.
Yeah, and it was, and I felt that there was, and I think a lot of people might feel this way, is that because Freddie Mercury is somebody that everybody kind of holds very dear to themselves, and a lot of people really know his story. So to see it so whitewashed and not really go into the depth and the context of the time, I thought was kind of disappointing. I was like checking my phone most of the way through this movie. I just, meh.
Yeah, I'm not as harsh as on you, but I have all the same critiques. I think the things I like about it is I love the last, 15, 20 minutes of the movie, like the remaking of Live Aid. I think they do that well. It's like visually really fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. It's not a poorly made movie in that regard.
Yeah.
But...
And I think the performances, which we'll talk about later, but I think most performances are good. The band, that you got nothing there. But I think obviously the movie is if Rami Malek works and he does work. And then I was just hoping the rest of it for me, because some people have brought up that it's like the historical accuracy that bugs them. That doesn't bug me. You can fudge numbers, do whatever. To me, it's just same thing we were talking about Green Book, the racism. They just handle everything with kind of kid gloves again. I think this needs to be rated R. I've always gone back to the way that Sacha Baron Cohen talked about it. And no, I don't need the whole movie to, because some people are like, oh, what, you just need to see him like getting on with dudes. I don't need the whole movie to be like that, but it just felt like that, and that whole section of his life is just so glossed over, or it's hinted at like it is in real life. Like, to me, at times, this feels like a good part to like if HBO said we're doing like a 3-part movie on Bohemian Rhapsody, this kind of feels like the first part, and you'd kind of get more. So I can agree with you. I like certain things. I have watched it twice, and I honestly, I will watch it again because I like Rami Malek a lot as Freddie Mercury. I think he does that good. I wish the movie was as good as his performance. I don't know if you...
No, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
The one thing that kind of surprised me was I remember seeing the trailers and being like, holy shit, those teeth look goofy.
Yeah.
But in the movie, it didn't actually bother me that much.
Yeah.
But I thought it was going to be something that was like really noticeable. Like, because in all the trailers, it looks like he's got these big buck teeth.
Yeah.
And it looks like so fake, but in the movie, it wasn't too bad.
But yeah, I can agree with you. Out of all these, if I could only take one off, this easily gets the boot. I just feel like it's so generic. And that's the thing, I wouldn't have such a problem with this movie if it didn't get nominated, because it's like, okay, it was just a paint by numbers biopic with a good performance, fair enough. But the fact that and especially because lots of people don't know Queen, and this is the way of like hopefully just gets them to learn more about them. And I don't think I'm not being hyperbolic, like, oh, it hurts their legacy, this and that. I said this when we reviewed it, it's just we've never gotten a Queen/Freddie Mercury movie. One, if it's gonna be a movie, I always felt it should be more about Freddie and less of the band, just because I get Queen's big, but people want the Freddie story more, right? Obviously, you gotta have the band there and whatnot, but Freddie's the star. But two, for me, it was just that we're gonna get, maybe in the future we'll get one, but most time with these biopics, you only get like one big one, right? That's how you do it, then people move on. It's not like comic book movies where you reboot. Imagine if that was a thing in like 10 years. They just kept rebooting all the biopics. But that's...
You know what? Write down that prediction. That's where the creativity is going.
Foggy's like, I can't wait to get my hands on that Queen.
Playing Elvis pretty soon, or some other stupid thing.
And that's the thing for me.
You know what remind me of? I don't know if you've seen it. Did you ever see Beyond the Sea, the Bobby Darin biopic with Kevin Spacey?
No.
2004.
You mean with Christopher Plummer?
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay. And then you forget about it ever existed.
Yeah.
So when it got nominated, I was genuinely surprised.
Oh, me too. I wasn't surprised when it got Globe nominations, because like, oh, they like to nominate some kind of like sexy Hollywood movie. But when Oscars happened, I was shocked. I could not believe it. And especially because I just feel like that takes the slot of just so many other movies that could be in that situation, which I'll ask you after some movies we didn't get nominated, of like what you would have put in there. But yeah, and that movie, I don't know what you're talking about with Kevin Spacey. There's one with Christopher Plummer that was the exact same, but...
Oh, really?
No, I'm joking, because remember they replaced him in that Color for Money movie or whatever it was?
That is very true.
Yeah.
And 2004 Kevin Spacey, when no one had an idea.
So, yeah, I didn't call that, remember, I didn't call Spacey the bad stuff. I did tell you he was definitely gay, but I didn't see the other stuff.
No, I didn't see that either, but I just want to point out that I did, and this is on record on this podcast, call out Bryan Singer.
You were on Singer for a while, yeah.
Which I didn't, like, okay, where you're like, everybody knows Kevin Spacey's gay. I was, like, genuinely shocked when you told me that, and then went home and, like, did research, because I was like, no. And then, so the fact that I was like, Bryan Singer is, and then it comes out, it's like, oh, look.
Yeah.
So I do feel vindicated, but
how do you There's like a quick off-topic thing. How do you feel about like watching his movies now? Like, is that something that you can put to the side or what? Because it's some
Bryan Singer,
but Kevin Spacey, because Singer's behind the camera. So like Spacey, when you think about like, especially for you, American Beauty, I know is one of your all-time favorite movies. So like, does that affect it for you at all?
No.
No.
Because he's never going to get another role in Hollywood, It doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, when Roman Polanski came back and they gave him a standing ovation, it was kind of like, fuck you, Hollywood.
And Woody Allen, too.
Like, yeah, it's like all these things. It's like, no, you know what? Like, let's not pretend that you have morals when you don't. Yeah. But if you stand up for your morals and then you're like, yeah, no, we're done with him. But appreciate the art that he's done. Like, let's not gloss over it, because it's very much part of the person. also kind of a weird analogy. Did you watch the Ted Bundy documentary?
I did the tapes of Bundy. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really liked it, but there's
Mhm.
one thing that Ted Bundy said in it that
Oh no, Liam.
really has really stuck with me. And he was talking about why
I
the
love
police are.
murder.
I don't normally. This is why I was so surprised that I actually enjoyed this. He said he's like the police are trying to find like the one singular event that made me who I am, but you're taking a glass of river water and being like, why is the river here?
Hmm. Yeah.
And the way I said it, I was like, oh yeah, you're right. That's like a weird, screwed up thing that Kevin Spacey does, and it's reprehensible, but it's only a small part of kind of like the larger picture of who he is. Just like with all these people, like with Harvey Weinstein, with everything. Well, actually, maybe not Harvey Weinstein. He seems to be a goblin. In all
Yeah.
fairness. Uh, so like I don't know
I
if you
think
can.
Spacey could be if those claims are true though too. Like some of his stuff was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was, and like by no means am I going to be like I can't wait to see the next Kevin Spacey
Yeah.
film, but I'll still appreciate what he's done because I do love American Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah.
So tell me why you love Roma. Tell me what stuff you love, or if you like Roma. But
okay, Roma is one of the most beautiful movies that I've ever seen.
okay.
It is. It's a story. First of all, I love that it was in Spanish and as well as, and I'm not even going to attempt to say the dialect of the Mayans of Central America, however God's name you say that.
Mm-hmm.
And my Spanish, anybody that knows me knows my Spanish is not good at all, despite taking it for 4 years in university.
Nice.
It was beautiful. I loved seeing it from the help's point of view in a poorer country in the 1970s. And then I also love that you kind of have this B plot of the so like I guess the family that hired her, like the wife, and watching her marriage fall apart,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have everything happening, and I can't get over the actress that was the main character in that. Like
Yalitza.
The way that it was shot, the way that the story was, like it doesn't need to be this big exciting thing. It doesn't mean to wow you with like explosions and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
When kind of the big events do happen, like when she's looking for the crib with the grandma, and there's the ride outside. And then the way that the camera pans, and then the camera pans back, and you see it's like her piece of shit ex-lover that like left her. Those moments just hit you so much harder because of it. And like I know you may disagree, but I thought it was just a beautiful slice of life movie, and I think Alfonso Cuarón's gonna walk away with a whole bunch of awards.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think any other film comes close to the artistic vision that he set forth, and that was executed in such a way that it was. Like I'm sure some people find it boring and things like that, but to me it was like it transcended what I expected that movie to be, especially from Netflix. Mm-hmm. Like Netflix really put their dick on the table and was like, we are something else this year. Because I thought Beasts of No Nation should have been nominated.
Yeah.
It was great, but like to be like, no, this is our statement movie. I think is fantastic.
Yeah, see, and that's where I can agree with you as far as from the technical aspect. It's a beautiful movie. It's very well made. For me, I've talked about before on other casts, yeah, it was something that was extremely boring for me. And it's just because I feel like when you do say it's a slice of life, I feel like it has to be an interesting slice of life. And I get the part of you got the family, you got the culture, you got what's happening at that time, you got her with the baby. I just feel like I wish one was more focused in on the other, which I'll talk about again when we get to supporting actors, because I was surprised that the wife, the woman that plays wife, got a nomination, because I did not think that was deserved at all. I just feel like it's the kernel of like a lot of good stuff, but there's nothing that gripped me. I feel all the main stuff is, other than having it from a perspective of being a Mexican family, which is good. I think that should happen more, but it's all to me like really run-of-the-mill cookie cutter storylines. And for me, like and that's where it's just funny. I had the exact opposite reaction when that whole riot thing happened, and it was her like bad ex-boyfriend. To me, it just felt like a soap opera. Like, of course, like, oh, like here he is, like of course he's a part of this bad guy thing. You know, like I'm watching Gotham right now. That is some of the worst. Like, and Roma is. I'm not trying to compare to that. That was a bad thing to set up.
I would assume you wouldn't be comparing that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's just sometimes where there's eye-rolling moments. It was kind of, I had a few of those in Roma where it just felt, because they were not spending enough time on one story, all these storylines had to go really quickly. Even the stuff with her and the family and that dad cheating on her, that goes by so quick, and it feels like, literally in one scene, she's like slapping Elisa, and then the next scene, they're like family. And you don't really get any context of how that changed or why the mom would feel that way. You know, that was my problem. Either it needed to be longer, which I didn't want, but if it was longer to make it better for me, I would enjoy it. But I agree with you, from like a visual aspect, it's great. I think this is a very Oscar baity movie, though. It's black and white. It's all about the art and the shooting, and it's like, look at this and look at that, which I applaud, but it reminds me, I prefer this a lot more, but it reminds me a lot when The Artist was out, and I just didn't understand the hype for it. I was like, I get why the Academy loves this, because the Academy loves three things: either a movie that's making a political statement, an art statement, or a legacy movie, which we'll talk about later, where it's just like, oh, look at these, like the post slasher, right, with Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep. Like, look at all these big people together. Isn't this magnificent? So for me, I'll never. I won't say that. I will try. I'm gonna try to watch it again at some point in my life, but I'm not looking forward to it. I'll say, but I agree with you. It's gonna win a lot.
See, and I think those parts that you found eye rolling,
Mm-hmm.
I believe is how you said it, was, to me, that was it was impactful. And you're right, they did gloss over it, but that type of, I think this genre of film, you need that. It's more realistic. It's what life is. Like, so I watched This Is Us with my girlfriend. I don't know if Emily makes you watch this.
No. I've see her watch it sometimes, and I run away now.
That movie is like a screenwriter's like wet dream of like everybody has the perfect thing to say, but they say like the argument that you have in the shower 2 days after the fight, and you're like, shit, I should have said that, and then that's what they open up with, and that's not what real life is. And if Roma just felt a little bit more realistic because I really just felt like I was a passive journey with the main character throughout it, and everything that happened with her, she just felt inescapable, and nobody's helping her. But where does she even go? Like, you got all this, like, I go back to my family, but my mom just lost the farm. Like, they're buying up indigenous land. Like, because she's not Mexican, she is like indigenous.
Yeah.
And in the 70s, that's compared to the indigenous people in Canada. It's like the same kind of thing. So it's like, I just thought there were so many layers on it that were like, just like, I really, really thought it was beautiful.
See, and I can agree with you to a point, but then for me, it's like, and this is where like the Arts Academy stuff comes in. I don't know if I need 5 minutes of her sweeping the ground. That's the sometime for me where it took me out, where I get it, because Karan, look, like I can see the voters like, look, he's just shooting the shit out of this scene. Like, oh, it looks so good. But for me, it's just like, I wish that was cut down a bit, either make it shorter, and I get it, that's part of the art of it. But to me, it didn't strike me the way of like, if Nolan's doing it or if Guillermo's doing it, where it didn't strike me where I'm like, man, I'm looking at this image. I can agree that if you pause it, everything would look like a painting, but to me, it didn't look like a smorgasbord. I think it does what you said, as far as like, it does make it feel like you're living in real life, but I guess maybe I don't know. I'd have to look at what I like in the film, but maybe I just like more of the fantastical sort of views, but I don't know. I hope one day it clicks with me, but this time it did not, but I agree with you. It's gonna win. It's gonna win a bunch of stuff.
I'd say my biggest complaint is that those maids never let the fucking dog out. The whole time it was just like,
real life, man.
Why have a dog if you're just gonna let it shit everywhere and they get mad that it shits everywhere? Like, you're letting the dog do this.
Yeah.
Let it shit on the roof.
Let's talk about Black Klansman next. So you just saw this movie last night, correct?
Yes. So yesterday I watched Vice, Green Book, and then Black Klansman to prep for this.
Wow, that's a lot.
Black Klansman was dope. It was so good. I loved it, and to me, this is everything I liked about it is what I don't like about Black Panther. Let's actually talk about racism like it's a real thing and not some weird made up. It was made in a boardroom, so just like.
I can't wait.
It had an actual message, and it felt impactful in today's society, and it. I didn't actually realize I was Denzel Washington's kid too.
Oh yeah, did you not realize though once he starts talking though?
Well, that's what I was like. Why is he doing a Denzel Washington impression? And I paused the movie and I searched him up, and I was like, nope, that's just how he grew up.
Just the son, yeah.
Also, he played for the St. Louis Rams. Props to him.
I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I thought Adam Driver was fantastic.
Oh, he's so good.
I love the racist dudes. I thought Topher Grace was fantastic as David Duke. I loved everything about it. It was a fantastic film, and that ending, like, it left me speechless. Like, I was pacing around the room. I was like, this pumped me up.
Oh yeah, that was so.
And I don't think it's perfect. Like, Spike Lee movies always seem to have like a weird
rhythm sometimes.
That's why I think he makes great art.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
I said, for me, sometimes a weird rhythm. Like, I think for the most part, the humor and the dramatic parts work, but there's times where it's just. I think it's not that they don't work, it's the pacing of it sometimes to me that we jump so quickly. And for me, I can't remember what it was, but I thought there was some stuff at the... I feel like he is always more in tune with the issues of the movie instead of the characters. So at the end, when like John Day Washington and the girl, I can't remember her name, and they're talking about the relationship thing, and it just cuts to like the hallway, classic hallway Spike Lee shot. And it's great, but it's still like, I feel like we're in the middle of this conversation with these characters right now, and I kind of want to know how their story's going to end. So there's a few things like that, but I feel like it makes it a Spike Lee movie, right? Like, you feel like Malcolm X or Do the Right Thing, like it kind of has, you can see, you can always know what is his type of film.
Well, you know what, and that's and once again, it's going to be my issue with Black Panther. When we'll get into that, is that it actually like a Spike Lee movie, whether you like it or not, you know it's a Spike Lee movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know that he made it, and it was made because this is the way that he wanted it. And I don't think that you kind of always get that with Marvel movies because there's such a budget. But we'll get into that. But like I really, really enjoyed Black Klansman.
Yeah.
I thought it was, to me, it was like a movie that, if this won, I don't think I'd be surprised. I think it's impactful enough, and I think it hits people the right way. I think it's like politically convenient. I think it's very much of the time. I think it's a movie that people are going to look back on and really talk about. Like, nobody's going to talk about Green Book in 10 years. Nobody's going to talk about, if they talk about Roma in 10 years, it might be for positive or whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to talk about Bohemian Rhapsody ever again.
No.
Like,
and that's where I do bring up, though, people will talk about Black Panther when we talk about it, though.
I will. Do you want to start talking about Black
Panther? Yeah,
Panther?
I'll say about Black Klansman. It's great. We'll talk about Adam Driver, but yeah, I love the movie. If I wasn't Stars Born, that would be my second pick, honestly. And I love Black Panther, but I'm not going to be biased, be like, oh, this has to be, but like Black Klansman is so strong and it's very rewatchable. So yeah, let's talk about Black Panther because I'm ready to shoot you down on some points. I agree with you on some, but where do you want to start with this?
So I'm going to start with that the Academy Awards are originally designed for excellent in cinematic achievement. Cinematic is the word that I would like to highlight, not cultural phenomenon. I'm not going to deny that people love Black Panther and that it is a cultural phenomenon. I totally get that. All my students love that movie. They always talk about Black Panther. Mm-hmm. Actually, I shouldn't say that. When it first came out, they did like last year. Now nobody talks about it. But that's like I think that's like the Twitter world we're living in.
It's just
nothing really has the same,
quick, yeah.
Like longevity that they used to, like when like when the prequels and like Lord of the Rings came out. That's all everybody talked about until the next one came out.
Yeah.
I think Black Panther is the third best Marvel movie of the year. I thought.
You like Ant-Man and Wasp more than Black Panther?
Oh no, I'm counting Deadpool. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, I can give you Infinity War.
Deadpool, and
then that's fair enough. I was like, come on now.
No, Ant-Man.
Paul Rudd ain't that good.
But nobody saw Ant-Man.
A lot of people did. Don't even, Mr. Fatigue.
No, but like, when was the last time somebody was like, hey, did you see Ant-Man? No, you gotta see it.
No, but it can still be an enjoyable movie. That's the second one was. It was enjoyable and good, you know?
Yeah, but like, okay.
You'd enjoy it more than Bohemian Rhapsody, I bet you that.
Oh, probably, because I like Paul Rudd. But,
so here, before you continue, though, because I want to bring up one point. Yeah. Your whole, like, excellence in cinematic, blah, blah, blah. If it was, like, us talking about it or the rest of the world, I would understand that. But it's the Oscars, who every year pretty much show how contradictory they are to their statements like that. And I have a list after you're done of movies I could throw at you that I think are much worse than Black Panther. And I think just the obvious one, when you talk about culture phenomenon, why else did Avatar get?
So I knew you were going to bring up Avatar, and I'm not going to defend Avatar. Mm-hmm. I don't think it should have been nominated either.
But that's what I mean. They have a track record. They have a track record of, this is the big movie. This made a change in Hollywood some way, and I'll talk about how it did. But this made a shift in one way. This is why we're awarding it. It's not going to win. I don't think it'll win unless there's some split votes that happen. But I don't think the Oscars, if they were always just about what's the best movie, then sure. But I think there are many times, like I said, they're political or they're about, Al Pacino hasn't won an Oscar, let's give it to him for Scent of a Woman. So it's like they're all over the map, right? So I feel like this fits maybe from a quality standpoint.
I have the Al Pacino one in my notes of being like, no, this is one of the things where like, yeah, the Academy gets shit wrong. But I'm saying as someone that if this is what the Oscars represents, this shouldn't be nominated because there was nothing excellent in its cinematic achievements. I'm not saying Black Panther is a bad movie. Mm-hmm. I thought it was mediocre. I thought it was very formulaic for a Marvel movie.
Oh my God.
Are you serious?
Okay, so I can give you as far as the hero's journey, right? T'Challa's journey as far as point A to point B. The stuff that's not formulaic, and I think you brought up a little earlier when you're talking about like in a board meeting of, let's talk about race, and this is how we'll talk about race issues. For me, that's the reverse of like, they don't need to do that. Marvel's at this point where they could just keep cranking out the same old origin story, good guy, bad guy, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that in that... They do, but this one was different for the sense of they gave Killmonger a message and a actual story that fit with our world. Those so many. What's Whiplash's like journey in Iron Man 2? Nothing. It's just something, right? But in this, it had real world effects, and just the fact that they're talking about things like him talking about slaves committing suicide, or us like as white people, as our culture in the past, like taking things from him. That's something that I would not expect a Disney / Marvel Studios movie to, because the track record that they've shown before. Like, so what's the most close? Maybe Civil War talking about like people's rights. Other than that, it's always been let's beat this alien, right? So that's where I could say it's not a cookie cutter. As far as the like I said, her hero's journey, sure, but they didn't need to do that. They could have just made Killmonger be like, I want to take over Wakanda. Why? Because I want to. Because they've done that before. I can agree with you there. But this time they made a reason, and they made for me a moment in the film where I might be on Killmonger's side, because he's not saying things that are wrong. It's when the turn happened, he's like, let's just kill everybody. It's like, okay, well, we don't want to do that. And that's where, yeah, it does get a little formulaic, but I think...
And that's why I don't think it should deserve to be nominated.
But that's where...
I think, I was going to say, the first half, you're right. Mm-hmm. It imposes these questions. They're like, oh, this is interesting. Hey, we got an actual idea to tell. But then Disney comes in and says, no. That won't make $1 billion. What you need is a terrible CGI fight at the end. And that's where it loses it. And then what you still have is a Wakanda run by wealthy and feuding elite that, despite its advanced technical abilities, does not have a means of succession beyond lethal combat.
Well, yeah, hopefully that changes.
A remotely original film, and like something that's like a proud stance. Like, oh, don't worry, we still have to beat the shit out of each other because I know that's why you came. That's why I don't think Black Panther should be nominated. Just because you bring up these ideas and then almost purposefully ignore them by doing these giant fight scenes.
Yeah, but you have not seen the sequel. So for me, the thing is, where Black Panther, his whole journey is about, one, yeah, the hero's journey, but two, also it's accepting and finding a balance between what he wants and what Killmonger wants. Because you have that scene of him and his dad, and he's talking about like, you were wrong and you guys did it this way for years. So to me, that was the point that, yeah, maybe you're right. In the sequel, it's going to pick up and they'll just be fighting in the water again. But to me, I took it as they're going to start changing their ways. They're going to open up to other worlds or other countries. So for me, that was, to me, his journey.
But they don't in the movie.
They do at the end. No, like, okay, as far as the kingdom stuff, yeah, but they do go to another country. They do start making those strides like, let's be better. Let's extend our hand to other people and try and help, right? So there's not going to be, they can't just throw in a random king fight in the last 5 minutes again and be like, boom. And the thing is, yeah, it is what? Well, they did though, but that's what I mean. You see a change in him as far as we need to change our ways. And I agree with you. Yeah, it is a big Marvel battle at the end, but that's why, as far as comic movies, I put it so high, because they could have just done that the whole way through. And if you're talking about on like the real world aspect, as far as like that cast and crew being like what 85% black or something like that, that's a huge milestone for just Hollywood, right? And we talk about like I said, legacy. They do that sometimes, so I see like that's why it's in there. Another reason why it is a big achievement. Whether it's not like if that's what they are to celebrate film, that is a huge achievement just for the world to be like for years to be like, you couldn't have a black superhero because it couldn't be that. That movie in North America has made more money than Infinity War. So I feel like to me, I understand why it's there. I would not want to win, but I feel like it does have accolades that puts it above in. I'm not going to say it's in the Logan Dark Knight tier for you, but I think it puts it above a lot of others. But I think for you, it's a big fight at the end that kills it for you.
No, and I think it's just like the overall idea that, okay, so let's look at Black Klansman, because I think there's a lot of parallels.
Yeah.
And look at, I can't remember the guy's name. He's the one that spoke at the Black College.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Two different names in the movie, and they're both escaping me. But when they were talking about, like, no, we need, like, liberal policies, and we need to love our black selves. And it was all about very much an African identity and keeping an African identity. And what I liked about Black Klansman is, like, they actually, even in the movie, him and the girlfriend talked about it, about that duality of, like, well, I'm a black man, and I want the liberation of black people, but I'm also a cop. And it's that you can fight change, systemic change, from the inside. Black Panther showed that, nope, the wealthy, noble elites, don't worry, they'll keep you. And to me, that's like Disney protecting itself of being like, no, let's not have a movie actually about a revolution that's successful. Let's have a movie about a revolution that's quashed, and how bad is Killmonger, right? Because he just wanted to kill people. That's what revolution.
I don't think, but that's not the point at the end, I don't think.
Okay, but you don't think that has something to do with the fact that Disney just goes out of its way to buy up all these extra companies, goes to buy out all these things, and make this clean, sanitized product? that
Well,
only seems to benefit them.
I don't think so because one, I
a formula that's meant to sell more toys. It's meant to sell this expanded universe. It's meant to sell more Disney shit all over the world. It was not made because they were like, hey, I got an important message to say, like Spike Lee does with Black Klansman. It was like, hey, you know what? It'd be really convenient if we made a black superhero. Hey, nobody remembers Blade, so it doesn't matter. We can just say he's the first black superhero. And just
They said he was the first MCU. I hate that narrative. Same thing with Captain Marvel. People be like, oh, they keep saying she's the first. No, they're saying she's the first in the MCU in this iteration. Because, yeah, they don't need to acknowledge the past that much because they didn't have much to do with that. Like, this is an achievement for them. And even with Blade, that was big, but it wasn't to the big at this level. And to me, I agree certain themes as far as Black Klansman, but you can't look at Black Klansman and say, hey, this movie that is distinctly about a guy dealing with the KKK. Yeah, I had said 3Ks. And then Black Panther, which is just a superhero movie, that should not be on the same rate as far as tackling race that Black Klansman was. To me, Black Panther
shouldn't be nominated. You've made the argument for me. You're right. They're not on the same level because it can't be on the same level.
I say the same level as far as if you're just talking about a race movie. This is not what is the best movie that tackles race. This is what's the best movie overall in the year. And that's where then, fine, I will throw to you. Because also you would replace Bohemian, right?
And Black
yeah. So what are the two movies you would have put in there?
I would have put First Reformed
in
because I think that movie is fantastic. And I'm trying to think, and that's actually a good question. I did not think about that. So let's take Black Panther out. We'll keep Bohemian Rhapsody, and First Reformed can go.
You don't believe that? You actually don't believe that?
No, I'm not even trying to be at all. I don't know, controversial and being like, I'm not saying like Black Panther wasn't good enough, like it wasn't The Dark Knight. I'm just saying that this is a movie that people seem to love and are not really like examining it critically like they would. People will examine Roma critically. They'll examine Black Klansman. They'll do Vice critically. But Black Panther, you can always just throw up that fake argument. It's a comic book movie though. Okay, then it doesn't get to be talked about then. If it can't transcend its genre like The Dark Knight did, which, if you recall, the final act of that movie is Batman saying, I'm not going to fight you.
Yeah, but
people then choose not to fight. That was transcending the genre of that we don't need this giant battle between two people.
You still have 5 minutes before. 5 minutes before, then you still have him fighting a bunch of dogs and throwing the Joker off a roof. Like, just because they've changed a few things.
A giant CGI battle on the plane with those weird ass rhinos.
It doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter if it's a CGI or not. It's the battle because that heart for that country. That's where, to me, it does transcend the superhero genre. The fact that you can talk about it. What other comic film could you say at least tackled anywhere near what Black Klansman could as far as talking about race? These are, like you said, this is a movie that's made for toys to keep for in this universe, right? They didn't need to do that. So that's why I think that is the message. That is where I do critically, like when we were talking about it, I do feel it brought up things that I feel it is on that top tier, and I feel like it talking about race does do that. It does transcend the genre because no other ones do that. No other ones really talk about that.
X-Men?
What? Don't talk about X-Men when you're not a big fan of X-Men. Like,
I'm not a big fan of the X-Men, but I'll say Days of Future Past literally opens up with talking about the Holocaust.
And then it moves along, and it's a time-traveling tale. It's a time-traveling tale where at least at the end of the day, it is a big CGI battle, but the CGI battle is still core centered about a race issue. X-Men Days of Future Past is it is because Killmonger wants to supply people, his brothers and sisters, with weapons to take out white people, right? And to take out people that are innocent, maybe some not innocent, and that's the juxtaposition trying to stop it. X-Men is just we need to travel back in time here and there. So you may not like the huge CG battle, but it's still about that, right?
I'll just go why Star Wars is lame in comparison to Star Trek.
Oh,
Star
no.
Trek, you can have an adult conversation and actually avoid all that and actually talk out your issues, which is the way it should be. Whereas like a Black Panther, and all it does is like it goes right back into, I know I don't want to fight you. Fighting's bad. But I guess I have to do it, and sometimes violence is necessary.
Sometimes it is.
You could have written a story if it wasn't this Disney big superhero product. You could have written a story where they didn't have to do that, and he actually rose above it. And I think that would have been far more impactful. And to me, I'd have been like, yeah, you know what? It did transcend its genre because it didn't have to fall back into those tropes.
Fair enough. So this is the last thing I'll push back on you with this. I don't understand, though, because for me, you can at least say that first half was doing something great as far as tackling the race and doing something different. I don't think there's anything as good as that in Bohemian Rhapsody. So that's why I'm very surprised you say that you'd take out Bohemian. Like, you got Rami Malek, but what if you want to talk about cookie cutter? Oh, look at this. Hang on. Kyle's calling right now. Look at this.
Oh, bring him on.
What's up, Kyle?
No, just saying hi. What are you up to?
I'm on a phone call right now with Liam. Hang on, let me get my headphone here. I'm on a Skype call with Liam.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
This is this is the worst idea ever. You probably can hear nobody. I will call you back in a little bit, okay?
Oh, okay. I was just gonna invite myself over, but it's all good. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. Bye.
Hi, Kyle.
Single Kyle again, you know? He's just back to like just single Kyle. Like just that. Oh, I'm calling to come over. Like literally no notice whatsoever. But so that's what the only point I throw you about with Bohemian Rhapsody is the fact that
I'm not arguing that Bohemian Rhapsody should be on the list either. I'm just saying that Black Panther is, I think, local culturally defunct.
But I'm saying for those reasons, wouldn't you still, if you could only take one, you would still take Bohemian, or you'd still take Black Panther over Bohemian, just because I feel like Bohemian is all the way cookie cutter. Where at least Black Panther, you can, for your perspective, say it failed, but at least it was going somewhere, and then it took a kerplunk. Where Bohemian, I feel like the second that movie starts, you know what you're in for, and it never changes a beat as far as what that's supposed to be.
Well, I'd just say that Bohemian Rhapsody at least didn't pretend to be something that it can't be.
I would highly disagree with them just trying to shoehorn the like gay stuff and the AIDS stuff very quickly and to make them like that is exactly what it's supposed to be, right? Like
I won't say that it's good. I don't think either are good, but.
Oh boy. What was I gonna say? And then I had my list of I wanted to get past you. So you agree on Avatar as far as being on that level, right? As far as same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about
I think the Avatar should have been nominated not for Best Picture, but for like special effects and things like that, because I do think it pushes the boundary there.
Because the reason I'm pushing back on you is because I think at one chat we had, you said like, oh, it's one of, if not the worst, Oscar nominated Best Picture of all time, and
Yeah.
so, but I'm saying that there's stuff like that on that level. You got Avatar. What about your favorite Bridge of Spies?
Bridge of Spies, I think, is far more competently made.
Oh, you can't say competently. Oh my goodness.
Why not?
Because
it's a Steven Spielberg movie. It's like you watch it and you're like, wow, that's a great movie. It's boring as shit, but god damn it, that was.
I never once heard you say Bridge of Spies was a great movie.
You can probably go back to it. I think it's really boring. By no means am I going to say Bridge of Spies is exciting. And I don't really think it should have been necessarily nominated as well. But it's a very competently well-made movie. Like, you could write a book on just like, hey, if you want to make a movie and make a great movie, this is how you need to do it. This is how you frame your shots. This is how you do your dialogue. This is how you do your expose. But
I don't think anything that goes against Black Panther. I think it's just that you didn't like it turn into a fight. But it's not like comedy where there's no big plot holes, this or that. It's like at the end they chose to solve the issue that way, right? But there's nothing. It's still shot very well. Yeah. It's scored very well. I'll give you the effects, not the greatest, and that.
Which really surprised. I've actually noticed that a lot of CGI effects in some of these bigger movies have been getting worse.
Quick turnover, man.
Well, no, and like my roommate works in special effects as well, and like I see the time frame that they're in and like the work that they do, and sometimes like they'll make a shot and it looks great, and then he goes, "But here's how they want me to do it," and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
I assume how Doomsday gets made.
Doomsday.
Monstrosity, Ninja Turtle on acid.
Okay, so let's move forward. Let's make our prediction because we got lots of categories to go. So we could talk about that, I think, for the rest of our lives, and we probably will anytime we bump into each other. But I'm on the record. I think it is maybe it's in the top 5 for me, and I'm sure that grinds Liam's gears big time hearing that. But
no, you're a Marvel apologist. I'll give this to you.
Marvel apologist. Yeah, oh yeah, I haven't seen Captain Marvel, but it's top 1. You know.
Honestly, Captain Marvel looks like shit.
It's getting good reviews. I'm excited, you know.
Yeah, people also thought The Last Jedi was good, but that movie was also a piece of shit.
It is a good movie.
Good movie.
Oh, it is. It's not a terrible movie. That's another conversation. So, who obviously says Star is Born is your want? What is your official prediction for the points here for Best Picture? Roma.
Okay. And I would even go. My want is either Star is Born or Roma.
Really, you would put Roma over Black Klansman still?
Yeah, and I really, really like Black Klansman, but like, I just think Roma is like a cinematic masterpiece. I think it's really something else.
Biggest eye roll for the audio listeners. Yeah, I'm the exact same as Liam. I'm a want to Star is Born. And then my prediction is I think it will be Roma. I also think that'll be a political thing. A lot of stuff with America and Trump and the wall. That movie kind of fits that type of,
Yeah, without a doubt.
Best director, which we can talk about because we kind of talked about lots of that stuff already. Alfonso Cuarón for Roma, Yorgos Lanthimos for The Favorite. I think I did that all right. Spike Lee for Black Klansman, Adam McKay for Vice, and Paula Pawlikowski for Cold War, which I will say I have not seen. I try to see the Best Picture nominees the most because I do have a life. If this was my job, I'd see it all. But I do have a life on top of the podcast, so I did not see Cold War. I think this one's just like a one and done, like Cuarón has it. Like,
I think without a doubt. I think Spike Lee did a very admirable job directing it, but I always find Spike Lee movies are a little bit choppier than some of his contemporaries.
I agree.
He's got a lot of hard cuts, and I didn't particularly enjoy the kind of in between, the kind of like your set piece scenes. There's just like pictures of Colorado Springs. I think he could have done something a little cooler in there, but I don't know. I'm not the director. I don't think he did a bad job, but I think Alfonso Cuarón's got this in the bag.
So my only question, because I don't even have like a want, because I guess I'd go like Spike Lee, but I'm not going to do that and be like, oh, because I like the movie better. I think Cuarón deserves as far as the beautiful achievement as far as like what Roma is. I'll ask you this question. Why do you think Cooper's not in here?
I don't know, but I think he should be.
Do they hate him?
You know what? I know he's been nominated a couple times. I think for the movies that he's been nominated for, it was American Sniper and
American Hustle. And Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh, that's right. Silver Linings Playbook. I thought he was great. Mm-hmm. I thought American Hustle was pretty boring.
He was good in it.
Yeah, everybody was great in it. Yeah. I thought the story was just okay, and it was just kind of like there was nothing really exciting or new. And I think American Sniper, he was good in it. I thought this was kind of his year.
I did too.
Because I was blown away that he directed it. Because as you had alluded to earlier, I didn't expect him to be capable of this. No. I thought if he was going to be a director, it might be like somebody else is telling him what to do. But I felt like he had a kind of a vision that he went with.
Yeah.
So I think he should have been on here. I can't say Pawlikowski shouldn't be on there. I didn't see it.
Yeah. I guess though
it does get difficult.
Yeah, I guess the only reason I would say that maybe it's one, he's a new time director, so maybe they're like, okay, fine, we're not going to give him that, which I think is kind of BS, but once again, because Oscars and kind of political stuff, right? But two is because I've not seen them all, but the biggest negative detractors I hear from people is just that it's the fourth remake of a story, and I wonder if that's why that happened, or if I wonder if it's just one of those things where people are just like, Cooper's going to get on there, I'm going to throw my votes towards this person or this person, because I think even if he shouldn't have won, even though that would have been my want and pick, because I could agree as far as Cuarón could winning from the artistic aspect. For me, I would just go Cooper just from the emotional aspect. Like, he hit me the way you kind of described, like with Roma. For me, there's some moments he hit me with that. So I was very surprised, and I was surprised just when that movie came out, it had so much hype, and just it's been losing all these award shows and lost so much steam. I'm so surprised. It's not like with La La Land when that came out, it was like that and Moonlight neck and neck the whole time. Like, what's going to do it? Star is Born came out, I was like, this is the front runner. And now it's like, I don't think it's even like for predictions. I don't think it will win Best Picture. I think Green Book would win before Roma. Then just because I feel like it has that Oscar kind of touch to it, right? Like I think Star is Born is like I could like you would hate this. I could see Black Panther winning before Star is Born just because the hype and you split votes. I just think I don't know what happened to that movie, and maybe it's a remake of a remake, but I don't know. I thought it had enough.
The one thing that I also say, like if you look at Adam McKay, he has a very distinct style.
Yeah.
Have a style, whereas maybe Bradley Cooper quite hasn't found it. And if you got, once again, I haven't seen Cold War, but there's 4 directors on there. When you watch a movie, it's their movie.
Yeah,
it's very evident. So maybe it's just like, it was fine, but not.
Well,
not yet.
That's why I'm very excited for his next movie too, because I think he's going to do something original, something so no one can be like, oh, it's a remake, this, that. I cannot wait to see what he does next. I think and this reminds me a lot of Ben Affleck's Argo, when Argo got all these nominations, but Affleck got snubbed, and it was like, what's going on here? And that reminded me a lot. So I hope for his sake, his next film, it doesn't take like a Ben Affleck Live by Night situation. He just comes back and he makes his like The Town, or his Argo, where it's just like, oh, you guys passed me over, can't this time. So I imagine Cuarón's your want and your prediction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't go. Like I said, a want would be Spike Lee, but to me, I can see Crow winning. I'm fine with it. It's a great artsy film. He's definitely my prediction. I feel like he has that in the bag. That's, it's pretty simple, that award. Let's see. Best Actress, Yalitza Aparicio for Roma, Glenn Close, The Wife, Olivia Colman, The Favorite, Lady Gaga, Star is Born, and Melissa McCarthy, Can You Ever Forgive Me? Yeah, so for me, I like all these people. I get the hype for Yalitza because, it's a newcomer thing. The only one which I'm not hyped for, and I'll give a quick shout out because it didn't, for me, when the movies I would have thrown out for Best Pictures that didn't get nominated, I would have thrown out 8th Grade. I really enjoyed 8th Grade. Yeah. Boy Erased. It was Joel Edgerton's new movie. Not sure if you heard about it, but it's like Lucas Hedges, Nicole Kidman, Russell Crowe. They send their son to like a gay conversion camp, and it's based on a true story. Really, really good. I love his work. He's only done 2 movies, but I really enjoyed The Gift, and I really like this. So if you ever see it, it's not one you got to rush out to see, but if it's there on Netflix, give it a watch. And then one which we'll talk about later, Spider-Verse for me definitely should have been up there. I love Spider-Verse. That's probably my favorite comic book movie of the year. Like probably favorite movie after Star is Born. And then Can You Ever Forgive Me? That's another one I would replace Bohemian Rhapsody with. I said this to you. I loved it. I was so behind the ball. I just watched it because it's not even on the Best Picture list. I just was interested. Melissa McCarthy is fucking so good in it. Same as Richard E. Grant. It's so good. Yeah, it's about this writer, and she what is it called? Not forging. What is what?
Ghostwriting?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like if I pretend to do your signature, what is that? Or if I wrote a letter and I said this was from Liam.
Forging?
Yeah, forging. I guess I did. I thought I said forging, but either way, she forges like all these letters from like dead writers to make it seem like they had been sent, and it's really good. And she's like using them for money. I would say give it a watch. I think it's only like not even 2 hours, but really good. I wanted to shout out Melissa McCarthy because I'm one of the biggest detractors of her. I like her. I just feel like she always does the same thing. This she made me a big fan of. I want to see her in more drama big time because I loved it. I would easily give this Lady Gaga. I thought she was great. I know lots of people go, oh, she's just playing herself, but it's harder. Like people, like I can't just go play Travis Snail. So I hate when people use that argument. I thought she's transcended that. I think Glenn Close will win. I think this is her Al Pacino, Scent of a Woman.
I've heard she's fantastic in The Wife. I've heard she's incredible.
Don't buy the hype. I've seen it. It's fine. She's fine. I think people are over talking this big time. I think I'm alone. There's one other friend I talked to that felt the same, but she has like 2 scenes that she's great in, but the rest of the movie, it's very a subtle performance, but it's not even subtle in the way you're like, wow, like that's really good. It just is, it feels like she's in the back seat of the movie a lot, which is funny because the whole movie is about woman empowerment and whatnot. So that's kind of the design effect, but I feel like this is more of a legacy win. So for me, that's my prediction, but who I want is Lady Gaga. I would take, honestly, anybody over Glenn Close. I'd even get Yalitza up there before Glenn Close. That sounds bad. I'm a huge fan of 101 Dalmatians. I love Fatal Attraction. That made us scared of every woman. I cracked Liam up big time. But that's how I saw her.
You fucking bring up Glenn Close. You're like, Dalmatians, man. That's the Glenn Close.
That's what I saw her in. But then Fatal Attraction, she was the best Harley Quinn before there ever was a Harley Quinn. I love Glenn Close, so if she gets it for this is to me that legacy award. But I was not. She's not bad in The Wife. I just was not blown away. And if you ever see that movie, let me know. But what are your thoughts on Best Actress?
So I haven't seen Can You Forgive Me or The Wife.
Okay.
So I've only seen 3 out of 5. I think Olivia Colman's incredible.
Mm-hmm. She was good.
She is so good in it. I think Lady Gaga's fine. I think she's really good.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I haven't seen as many movies with incredible. I'm not saying she doesn't deserve to be nominated, but I don't think she didn't blow me away in that. It was kind of everybody else blew me away in that.
She blew me away, but Cooper for me definitely, which we'll talk about next. But he really blew me away because I did not know he had that in him too. Same thing from a directing, from an acting standpoint. I didn't think he had that in him.
Oh yeah, I would say who I want to win is Yalitza Aparicio from Roma. Who I think is gonna win is gonna be probably either Glenn Close or Olivia Colman.
Yeah.
But like the one thing that I'll say for Yalitza, she's a preschool teacher. She has no formal acting training.
There's hope for you, Liam.
I think there's something about a director that can get that kind of a performance out of somebody as well. With absolutely like Glenn Close, she's been doing this for 5 decades now.
Yeah.
Like she is the master actress. She's incredible. But I think Yalitza, she was the one that, because it was a very subtle performance, and I think when she had to do it, she she needed, like, the one that really stands out to me is when she collapses on the beach after saving that kid,
Mm-hmm.
and then just like, I didn't want the baby, and I was like, wow, like that one just
What a huge reveal that we didn't know the whole movie when she just looks depressed the entire time she's talking about this kid.
Yeah, but it's admitting it, and it's admitting it to your employer, who,
yeah,
it seems prior, like, beat like, used to hit her for like weird things, right? Taking her anger out on her, and there was just so much in that role to kind of unpack that I think if she had no idea what she was doing, I think you would know.
Yeah.
I think particularly in a movie like that, it would have been like, you're a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the kids were okay in that movie. Kids always suck. But
I'll take that back. The kids are on a roll right now. Stranger Things, those kids are great.
That's a very, like, yeah, okay, the Stranger Things kids.
No, hang on. The kid, and Logan. The kids from It were great. They're making a comeback.
Same kids from the one in Stranger
Things. There's one kid. Jacob Tremblay's fantastic. They're making a good run, these kid actors.
So you so far named under 10 actors under the age of, like,
18. When could we ever name more than 2, though?
That's what I'm getting at. They're not great. There's a reason that there's not that many kids.
But the evolution's coming. I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. It's like, you know.
That's what we need is more kids in movies. Yeah, that's
what
everybody wants
I'm
to see.
fine with it as long as they are, 1, have a nice, happy household, and 2, can act. I'm fine with it, you know.
All right, fair enough. But yeah, I'm gonna go Yalitza for my pick, and Olivia for. I'll be different with you for who I think is going to. I'll say Olivia Colman.
Okay. Best actor: Christian Bale for Vice, Bradley Cooper, Star is Born, Willem Dafoe, Eternity's Gate, which I have not seen. I imagine you haven't either, because I feel. Okay, good. I'm excited to talk to you about that because I feel like before I read off the other nominees, I feel like the past 4 years, Willem Dafoe just keeps getting nominated for these movies that almost no one has seen. But it's just like, yeah. So I feel like maybe one year he's actually going to get that, like, legacy Oscar. Finally, Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody, and then Viggo Mortensen for Green Book. So tell me what you feel about these gentlemen.
Okay, so the only reason that I saw At Eternity's Gate is because it was getting some controversy, because Vincent Van Gogh was, like, in his late 20s, 30s when he killed himself. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that you pick like a 70-year-old dude to play him, I was like, what? Like, but I thought Willem Dafoe was fantastic. I thought Rami Malek was great. Mm-hmm. I was really surprised that Viggo Mortensen got Best Actor. I thought it would have been I thought it would have been flipped.
Oh, okay. I can see what you're saying there. I agree with you. It should be flipped. But I think the reason it's not flipped is because they want Mahershala to have a better chance at winning. Once again, political stuff, I think that's why. But I agree with you. Mahershala is definitely, to me, the lead of that movie, and stronger. He's the stronger one in it.
Yeah, and you know what? And I wouldn't even, you know me, I love my Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah.
And I think I was one of the few people that saw Captain Fantastic. And I think even on this podcast, I was like, that's what I want to win.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper he was great. Christian Bale was great. I don't even really have a pick of who I want to win. If anybody wins, I'll be happy.
Yep.
But who I think is going to win is probably going to be Christian Bale.
It's tough.
Loves when he gains weight or loses weight.
Oh, yeah. That, to me, is the toughest one because I feel like it is between Bale or Rami. I really do. Cooper, for me, if I had my want, I think I would give it to Cooper because I do believe that was the best performance of his career. I don't think it's Viggo's best. Willem Dafoe, I'll say no. I'd have to really look at it. I'd say it's Rami Malek's best performance, but I'm a Mr. Robot fan, and I feel that he is, this sounds bad, but I think he's much more like a versatile actor than Cooper actually is. Like, he's more of a chameleon. So I could see him being... No, you disagree?
No, disagree. I see why. I think his acting ability is more diverse, but I think his look is too distinct.
Fair enough. I get I'll take the look at it though, but I could see him winning a supporting actor nomination one day for, like, they love to give it to villains and stuff like that, or the creepy guy role. Like, I just feel like we can see Rami here again, where Cooper, then again, that we've talked about, he's been nominated already. This is his 4th nomination, but I feel like this was his performance to win. All those other performances, I never looked at them and be like, that's a winning performance. They're like, oh, that deserves to be nominated. That was good. But this one, to me, that's why I'd give it to my want to Cooper, because I feel like this might be his only shot from an acting standpoint to get it. Bale's going to be in there the rest of his life, and thank God, because Bale is, I've been saying this for the past 2 months since I saw Vice. I think he's like the Brando of our generation. I think when we're in our 50s, people are going to be talking about him. Because just like, look at the resume he's done since American Psycho to now. he delivers every time. And like when we joked about Fassbender being in Assassin's Creed, we don't have that with Bale. You know, like he's really choosy with his roles and he's good. He's not in the way that you hate with Daniel Day-Lewis, where he's all like up and toity and like method acting. He just goes in there and he does the fucking job and he does it so well every time. But my counter for why I don't want to win is because, or why I don't think he'd win. My prediction is Rami. I just don't think he gets a huge scene. And I'm sorry for listeners because I've talked about this before. In Vice, he's playing Cheney, who's like very subdued, very grumpy, very kind of one note. And he does that really well, and it's a good impersonation, which sounds like an insult. But I don't think he gets like, what's that scene when you know what I'm talking about, the awards, here's your nominees, and they show that scene, right? What's his scene, right? Like I was talking about Mahershala, his scene is like, what am I? Am I good enough? Well, Rami Malek can be like him crying in the rain. Bradley Cooper is him with a scene with Lady Gaga, or like, oh, I just want to see you again. Like, what's Bale's scene, you know?
Yeah, you know what? That's actually a good point. I don't think it's Bale's best performance either.
No.
Which I think is going to hurt it. I don't think Rami Malek's going to win.
Really?
I think the fallout of the Bryan Singer thing is going to absolutely destroy any legacy Bohemian Rhapsody would have even remotely had.
He has won a bunch of other stuff though. He won Globes. He won the Screen. He won the Screen Actors Choice Awards. Where Bale won critic. Like everyone that's won so far has been like Bale Malek. So like he has been winning other awards elsewhere. So I feel like, I guess it just, you're right. And I was gonna throw that question to you. That's why I have you on this podcast, because I was wondering, like what are people, when they sit down to vote, are they thinking about the performances or are they thinking about the backlash? And I guess that's what we'll find out, right?
Well, I assume we're going to talk about it at the end, but this Oscars has been a shit show.
Oh, awful.
Okay, we got Kevin Hart. Nope, he's out. Okay, we got popular movies. Okay, that's out. Hey, we're just going to take all the fucking awards that people give a shit about and do it during the commercial break. Like cinematography. No, Stop it. So I can't wait to watch this shit show that's going to unfold this year.
I think, though, they've kind of tricked everybody. I think the ratings will actually be up because people are just tuning in to see what's going to happen. You know, have you heard this? Have you heard this rumor going around that Whoopi Goldberg is secretly going to host the show?
No.
So she's So this happened this morning at the time of this recording. She's not been on The View this whole week, and then a bunch of reports came out that maybe she is, I don't know if it would be a full host, but a host in some sort of capacity. I think she's done it before, so it would make sense. So,
back when she was actually popular and not on a morning talk show.
Yeah.
I to keep current with what people like. Whoopi fucking Goldberg.
But it's a safe choice. That's why. But you know what? If this worked, I'd actually be down for every year the Oscars if they had a host, but we didn't know about till showtime. That would be kind of fun, right? Like, who is it going to be? You could have a betting pool. Like, we could put that next year. If they don't announce a host, we can try and predict who's going to host it this year. So I think they should do that. But yeah, Whoopi's not the greatest choice. But
yeah, but I mean, I didn't think Ellen was a good choice either.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say. I thought she was a good choice until I saw the show, and then I was like, oh, she kind of sucked.
Yeah, hosting is tough. Like, to be like a standout host. Like, I honestly, in this decade, the only one that's, to me, done it great is the Golden Globes with Gervais. I think he's knocked out of the park every time. He's different. He's unique, and yeah.
I'll say Seth MacFarlane when he hosted. I thought he did a fantastic job of like pushing the buttons, kind of taking the piss. All right, it's not that like he's got that wonderful. You got to show your tits to get an Oscar. I was like, okay, that's hilarious. You're gonna need somebody to actually like laugh at him, and then I mean compare that to like the Anne Hathaway, James Franco, Wackel. Who else has done it this decade?
Hugh Jackman. I thought he was good.
Oh, he was meh.
He wasn't bad though.
He wasn't bad, but like he was meh.
I see. I can't even tell you who hosted last year. Oh, Kimmel.
Oh yeah,
Jimmy Kimmel good. Sucks. He sucks.
Jimmy Kimmel's boring. I think he is one of the most boring late night hosts. I was watching him when he was going through those things about his kid. I was like, oh, this is actually emotional. Otherwise, I just think he's quite boring.
Yeah.
Although I don't think there's really any late night hosts right now that are all that interesting. Jimmy Fallon is annoying.
Conan.
Oh, okay. I was talking about like the major networks.
No, I agree with you. No, Conan's down the totem pole now.
I think Stephen Colbert jumped the shark.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna fight you. Yeah,
you know what? I don't even know who would be a good host. There's no comedian that's like come out and been like, oh, it should be him. The only one that I could maybe
Dane
see
Cook.
is John Mulaney.
John Mulaney would have been a good choice. I think so.
I think he's kind of got the look. I think he's got the humor. Like it's like he's clean-ish. And I think it would have been great, and I think you'd have had great jokes about like, hey, this is for the other movies that nobody ever saw. Like, I don't know, I think he would have kind of fit the tone that maybe they should go towards, but
Dane Cook.
Who?
I said Dane Cook as a joke.
Yeah,
Let's.
no.
I still love you, Dane Cook. So yeah, my want is Bradley Cooper, but my prediction will be Rami Malek. I think he'll overcome the controversy. I think Bale already has one, so Bale's fine, and Bale I think will win again in the future. And I think also because Rami is just tied to it's Freddie Mercury, right? And people love Freddie Mercury, and he did a great job at it. So that's my prediction.
Okay, I'll go. Who I want is Brad. I'll go Bradley Cooper on this one. But who I think's gonna win? I think it's gonna be Defoe. Let's go wild card.
Who you think? You think they'd give it to Defoe?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think every other one of these movies has had controversy. At Eternity's Gate hasn't.
Because like, not enough people have seen it.
It's historically accurate, and because I do think they're going to be worried about backlash. So
yeah.
I do think, okay, Viggo Mortensen, okay, I don't think he's in the top.
But then Cooper doesn't have well, yeah, but Cooper doesn't have backlash.
No, so a lot of people don't like A Star Is Born. Like, it's another movie about white people falling in love, getting their dreams, and like dumb stuff. You're like, oh, so now it's not a good movie, or the fact that people are like mad at Green Book because it's a white director.
Yeah.
And you're like, stupid shit like that. Then it's like, okay, you know who didn't piss people off? William Dafoe.
You got some wild picks this year. Best supporting actress. I don't have much to say here because I feel like it's a clean sweep. I'll read them out. Amy Adams for Vice. Marina Di Trevira for Roma. Regina King for If Beale Street Could Talk. Emma Stone for The Favorite. And Rachel Weisz for The Favorite. I will say I'll take out my want because I've been meaning to see Beale Street. I did not get around to it. I'm going to try and see it before the Oscars. But she has literally won every single award from Golden Globes to like Critic Choice, other than like one time she was nominated. So I think Regina King has this in the bag, but I don't have a want. They're all great actresses, except for I do not think.
What? I think she's gonna win it.
No, I don't.
Rachel Weisz or Rachel.
You think that's your prediction?
That's my prediction.
Wow.
I think she's far better than Emma Stone, and I think Emma Stone's great in The Favorite.
I agree.
I didn't really dig Amy Adams in Vice.
I thought she was good. I don't think it was one of her best roles or anything like that.
No, and I think she I loved her in Arrival. I think she's done a lot of good stuff. But this Vice was like actually kind of like most of my issues with Vice. You're like, it was all right. That was okay.
So with Amy Adams, she's been nominated so many times. I'm gonna give you, and you can say never, but if you don't say never, how many more years till she wins an Oscar? Because she gets nominated, it feels like every year, but it's just never her year. And I don't think this year was a time where she would have won, but just like throw it out. Do you think she'll never win? Or if not, what is your time frame on her?
I think within the next 5 years.
5? Yeah. I'm going.
I think, I think Amy Adams tends not to win is because she's, with the exception of Arrival, she's almost never the main character. She's always a supporting in all these things. I think if you gave her like kind of like a really big movie, she plays like Queen Elizabeth or some shit like that. I think that would be like what really explodes her. Like I think she needs a movie to hit and everybody just go, oh, I've always loved Amy Adams. Whereas before people are kind of like, yeah, she's great. She almost take it for granted.
She could play Meryl Streep in a Meryl Streep biography, and then
she did.
What? No, but I mean, like, no, playing Meryl Streep, like.
Okay, but like playing opposite, like almost the exact same character.
I know, but like literally this time it's just Meryl Streep. Like, oh, we have to give it to her. I'm going 7, just to be a little contradictory for you from as far as years. But the only problem I have with this, I don't think Marina Di Trevira from Roma should have got. I know you like Roma. I just don't think.
I don't think she should have gotten nominated either. She good. I think she had a really small role.
She was so small, and it wasn't to me that memorable. Everything else was more memorable, so that caught me off guard. Like I said, I don't have want, but my prediction is definitely Regina King here. Best Supporting Actor, Mahershala Ali for Green Book, Adam Driver, Black Klansman, Sam Elliott, A Star Is Born, Richard E. Grant, Can You Ever Forgive Me, and Sam Rockwell for Vice. I'm going to start this off by shooting down one thing very quickly. I do not think at all Sam Rockwell should be in here. I think he was good, but same thing as the last actors we just talked about. He's in it for such a small amount of time that, like, it's barely supporting. There needs to be, like, a third category for, like, best 15 minutes or less, like, that's what.
I'll hit you with this. Anthony Hopkins, Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, and I know I use that example all the time when people, because this is the biggest thing, because I'm not sure if you heard, sidetrack, because Jared Leto, he's like, they're no longer doing like Joker movies with him. So people,
Good.
I know, but then, because obviously with the Facebook, I run it with Taylor and we talk to fans and whatnot, and they're just like, oh man, like people that defend him, like, oh, it was so short, we could have got time and more time with him, would have saw he was a great Joker. So I always use that defense, like, we knew Hopkins was great for only like 16 minutes. So it doesn't, but this is my thing with Rockwell. I think it's good, but I don't think it's the same as Hopkins where I can agree with that example. I just don't think I remember that much to stand out. I would have easily, and I don't know if you would agree with this, but I would have easily put Michael B. Jordan in there. You might say I'm biased, but just because I feel he was fantastic, as Liam gives me the head nod, no, but I thought he was fantastic. Up until Thanos, he was the best villain MCU was having. The way he delivered that line, the lines he got was so blunt, but then he had small caring moments, like that moment with, oh, damn, what's his name? Sterling K. Brown with his father, and they're just having this emotional conversation, and he's crying, but he's still trying to like seem hard-edged. Like, I'm not saying a win, but I think he deserved a prediction. He deserved a nomination. If like Ledger's got nominated, which I know that's different, but I mean, like, they've nominated comic book acting before, so I would have easily took Rockwell out for that. But the rest of them, I already like. Driver, he's just a fucking beast. He's gonna win an Oscar one day, I know it. He's like the best thing about the new Star Wars, so he's just killing it. Like I said, I love Richard E. Grant, but I think this is Mahershala Ali's award to win, and I think it's deserved. He was fantastic in Green Book.
So like okay, we need more Sam Rockwell in our life.
Yeah,
I love him in everything he does. I didn't see Can You Ever Forgive Me? I don't think Michael B. Jordan should be nominated. I think there is a lot better.
You can't name him.
I really think Ethan Hawke should have been nominated.
That would have been lead, though. That would have been supporting.
It would have been supporting, or better for lead, whatever. But like, I think there was a lot of, and I was talking to this with like a lot of my friends. I think this has been a terrible year for like movies, but an incredible year for like acting and cinematography and like aspects of film.
Mm-hmm.
I think there hasn't really been a lot of movies this year that have kind of really had that full thing. But I think you're right. I think it's Ali's year. I think Green Book wins this one without a doubt.
Yeah.
My pick is Sam Elliott though.
Yeah, I
think he was incredible in that movie.
I agree with you. Other than Sam Rockwell, I'm kind of the same with you with Best Actor. I don't really have a want because I would be fine with any of them winning. They're all great for me. I really enjoyed them all. So, Best Original Screenplay. So we're getting some technicals. The favorite, First Reformed, your big favorite. Green Book, Roma, and Vice. I'm giving this one to Vice just because I feel like you think about original screenplay, the kind of risks it takes, them doing Shakespeare in the middle of the movie, that rolling credits. I think they do enough weird stuff in it that kind of exemplifies original screenplay. So that's my prediction. And my want, I don't know. I could also, I don't know. You go, because I might take my prediction back, because the favorite's there, and that just has such good dialogue, though. So
it really does, and I would say what you just said about Vice. To me, that's why it does well in directing.
Yeah,
but I don't think it wins in screenplay. To me,
or editing.
So I'm going to take Green Book and Vice out for the same reason.
I would say Roma too, because there's not much from a screenplay perspective. That movie's all visual, and I don't think much of that screenplay is carrying that movie.
Well, my issue with Green Book and Vice is that yes, I understand the screenplays are great, but you are also telling a story where there's evidence of it. You have things to base off of. You have a narrative to go with it. I take that slightly away. It's always why period pieces for costumes always bothered me. It's always like, oh yeah, of course that's gonna fucking win because you had to make 18,000 dresses for Mary Queen of Scots.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
It's to me, it's like whereas something like Star Wars, like somebody had to create all of this in their head, and I think that's a little bit more unique. I'm gonna give it to First Reformed. I think that deserves it. A guy wrestling with his spiritual connection with God and the environment and how those things intertwine, and how he has to handle it with his congregation, who's heavily against it. Like, I just think it's such a great movie about mulling over things. So I think screenplay there is fantastic. But you're right. The dialogue in The Favorite is like she's talking to those rabbits. I never thought that would be all that interesting, but I really dug it.
Well, and Emma Stone's and Rachel Weisz.
And Rachel Weisz.
Yeah.
They're great. It's fantastic. So I think the favorite will win, but I would like First Reformed to win.
Yeah, like those scenes when they're in like the gun range, they're talking back and forth. Yeah, and even when Nicholas Hoult is sneaking in there, he has some good dialogue. So yeah, I will change my prediction to go the favorite for a prediction of who I think will win. The want, I will take anyone but Roma. That's what I'll say.
That's fair. All right.
Because I think I can talk about all the things that are strong with it. I just don't. I think the screenplay is pretty. Like I would imagine it's pretty basic. I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't stand out the way the other ones. And I don't know if I said on air. I've not seen First Reformed, so there's my thing. Best adapted screenplay: A Star Is Born, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which I still not got around to seeing, and I'm a huge Ethan.
I saw like the first half hour, and then James Franco was in it, so I stopped.
Oh right, you're a big Franco herd. I love Coen's. I've just never got around to it. Black Klansman, If Beale Street Could Talk, and Can You Ever Forgive Me? I feel like this is where they give Spike Lee an Oscar finally because he wrote it. So I feel like I would want it to win that, and I think it will. Well, I'd be fine with Star Is Born as well, but my prediction is Black Klansman because Spike Lee has had a huge career, not been nominated before. He's not going to win directing, so why not give him one for writing, right? So I feel like that's where he's going to get it.
Yeah, I think. You know what? That one's a bit of a tough one because like when you get to adapted screenplay, you're like, how much is it? Is it the adaptation or was it the original source material?
Yeah.
So I haven't seen Can You Forgive Me and If Beale Street Could Talk, and I really haven't seen The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I love westerns and I love the Coens, but I just really don't like James Franco.
Yeah. Isn't he only in one story though? Couldn't you skip that story?
I don't know. I only got half an hour in.
Fair enough.
Probably. I'll give the Black Klansman as well.
Yeah.
But I could see something like If Beale Street Could Talk.
Yeah. I don't think A Star Is Born just because I think if enough people complain about, oh, it's been remade so many times, they might just be like, well, it's the fourth one. So,
it's like in a generation, literally, because every generation gets one.
Here's one of your favorites. Best makeup, hairstyling, Border. Don't know what that is. Mary, Queen of Scots, and Vice. I think this one's pretty obvious. I would want Vice to win, and I think Vice will win this one.
Oh, I disagree with you. I think Vice should win, but I think it's going to be Mary, Queen of Scots. For like the point that I made earlier, they had to make 10,000 of those fucking dresses.
Yeah.
But like, man, like Christian Bale, spot on, Dick Cheney. I thought Bush was like everything about it was like, wow, that's really good. I'm not saying Mary Queen of Scots is bad. But like, it's just one of those ones. I think those period pieces have such a leg up because it's like, oh, we didn't just put on a 3-piece suit. We built an entire kingdom's worth of clothes, and I think that gets a little bit more clout with Academy voters, but I also have no idea what the hell Border is.
No, me either. I think the reason I'm leaning towards Bale is because one, this might be one of the awards that can actually win. Because Mary Queen of Scots, nowhere around the Oscars. That was supposed to be a big one. That just nowhere, just flat out died. The reason is,
and I know you're going to disagree with me, but I just don't think Margot Robbie is that compelling of a lead.
Have you seen I, Tonya?
Yeah,
she's fantastic. She should have won the Oscar.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, because I can't remember. See, that's how bad it was. I'll look it up, but I think she was better than. Oh, wasn't it I thought it was like another like, oh, thank you kind of award sort of deal. But yeah, I think, and I know I can agree with you on Suicide Squad and like Harley Quinn went up, but I think I, Tonya,
that was Frances McDermott for 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Right? Yeah, I thought she was good, but she's doing her Frances McDormand thing. It's nothing I had not seen from her before, where I, Tonya, was something different. And I think she's going to shine next year in, or this year in, what the hell's that Tarantino movie coming out?
It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, yeah. So I think she's fantastic, and I think she will win an Academy Award one day. And, she's come back as Harley Quinn, Liam. That's exciting, Hashtag superhero fatigue is a myth. Birds of Prey next year. So pumped.
Another mediocre DC movie that will somehow make $1 billion.
Wonder Woman was great. Aquaman was tons of fun.
You have to say a movie was tons of fun, and you said the first one was great. I think that weakens your argument. God, that sucked.
What sucked?
Aquaman. That was like it was. You're right. It was ridiculous fun. That was not a good movie. That being said, I think it might have been 3 movies that they put into one movie.
I love that movie just because it's so ridiculous. It really is. I ought
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. It was really fun to like to smoke a joint and watch that movie, but like it was a good movie.
to go full circle. My reason why I think Bale will win is because I think it was last year, the year before. It was last year when Oldman and his crew won for Darkest Hour, right? Remember when he played Churchill? So I think maybe the Academy's changing a little bit. So I'm going to predict Vice.
Okay.
Best costume, and here you go, another one. Let's see. Battle Buster Scruggs, Black Panther, The Favorite, Mary Poppins Return, Mary Queen of Scots. I'm going to predict Black Panther just because I think Black Panther is going to lose a lot of awards, unless there's some big shock. But I feel like it's not going to win most of these, so I feel like that's where you give it its due because you also have that reverse of it's not about the costumes. I feel like it's more about the tribes, people in Wakanda or the people that are living in Wakanda. I don't think it's because look at T'Challa's purple suit. I think it's more about how those outfits, especially during the challenges, everyone watching, made you really feel like this was a actual African landscape.
You're like, okay, cool, everybody's here.
What'd you say, sorry?
Yeah, like it's like the 5 tribes of Wakanda or whatever it is. It's like, oh, cool, everybody's got their own distinct.
They all look different.
Wins this one
again, really.
Yeah, I really just think that those like, I just think people love it, but I want Black Panther to win.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it. Like, again, like as I said before, okay, you got period piece. For some fucking reason, Mary Poppins Returns gets nominated. Okay,
yeah, that one I didn't understand.
Goddamn phone, right?
They had to fill out the 5.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? I could also see The Favorite winning. I think either The Favorite or Mary Queen of Scots wins, but like I think Black Panther once again, you had to come up with something that nobody had ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
You had and you had to make it look realistic, and it had to be. I just think that you are at such a disadvantage and kind of like bonus creativity for actually having to do something out of the blue. Like I understand, yeah, you got comics to base it off of, but like.
Yeah,
I haven't read the Black Panther comics, but like I thought like particularly, I mean the picture that they have here of Lupita Nyong'o, I think is like a classic example of it looks really cool.
Yeah.
And it looks like something I haven't seen before, where every other movie here I've seen before.
No, I agree 100%.
Mary Poppins, like you get costume design and it's literally just like what hipsters wear. Like you didn't I bet you they didn't have to make it, they just had to go down to like H&M and it was good to go. Go to a thrift store.
Oh, okay. So now, best cinematography. Here's another film I haven't heard of though. But so you got The Favorite, Robbie Ryan. Never Look Away, Caleb Deschanel. Good for you. That's the first time hearing from you, other than when I saw you nominated. Roma, Alfonso Cuarón, A Star Is Born, Manny LeBuc, maybe. And then Cold War, Lacrosse, Zal. I would want, just because it was lots of skill, and I think Cuarón's going to win this.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. I don't even know if I would have nominated A Star Is Born for this.
I can agree with that.
I think there were certain shots that I thought were really well done, particularly the one at the very, very end of the movie where he hangs himself, and it's like shot from right outside and the dog's in front of the garage. Like there was definitely some great shots in it, but there was a lot of shots that were really zoomed in close, and like they cut off the top of his head, or it's Lady Gaga's head, and like I see that, to me I find that like distracting. I know you're trying to get like the up close, really personal look at all the emotions on the face that are happening, but I didn't think for cinematography necessarily that A Star Is Born was like whoa, but I think Roma to me was.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% on A Star Is Born. I would put Hereditary in there. I'm not sure if you've seen that, but
I haven't seen Hereditary. I'm super stoked. No one will watch it with me, and I just haven't watched it by myself yet.
It's fucked up. It's on Netflix now, so get on it.
Yeah, so now I'm going to sit down and watch it, but like my girlfriend will not watch horror movies with me.
Yeah, that one's pretty messed.
It's also, I'm not going to watch a horror movie by myself. So
yeah. Best original song. We know who's winning this, but whatever. Let's read them all out.
Anything but Shallow, I'm going to be pissed off.
I would disagree, but I know what you're going to say. All the Stars for Black Panther, I'll Fight RBG, Place Where Things Go, Mary Poppins, Shallow, Stars Born, and When a Cowboy Trades His Spur Wings. I want Shallow to win, but I'm not saying it should win. I really, really like All the Stars Black Panther. It's the end credit song. Anytime
yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah.
Shallow is just, to me, like a far better song.
Yeah, I agree with you. And there you go. Lady Gaga gets an Oscar. She doesn't get one for Best Actress. But you know what I absolutely hate? Did you watch the Grammys at all?
No.
I hate, and you know, I love Lady Gaga. I've been fighting for her ever since I saw American Horror Story. I like a lot of her music. I hate when she performs this song at a concert or anywhere else because she doesn't perform it the way in the movie. And I know someone's going, oh, because she's not that person. I get it. You should go after this, watch the Grammy performance with Stars Born. She is just so animated. At one point, she's just like she sings shallow, and she just like turns upside down and she's singing. It's just like it is hurting my enjoyment of the song. I still like it, but she just it's almost like she knows she's winning an Oscar, so she's just like overacting this performance. Like it's like she's acting the way I would have thought if she was like Yalitza. This is her first time, but she's been doing this forever. It's like that's one thing. It's kind of funny, like with her and like that clip of you. I'm sure you've seen the 99 people in the room, that clip.
No.
Another thing you should YouTube. So YouTube that Grammy thing, and then YouTube there is a yeah, you have to. There's a compilation of like 5 to 10 times of her saying, there could be 100 people in the room and there could be 99 of them that don't believe you, but all you need is one, and my one is Bradley.
I have seen that one, yeah.
So I feel like I really like Lady Gaga, but I feel like she's playing it up a little bit this award season. So I just had to throw that out because the Grammys I saw a performance and it hurt my soul. As someone who loves Stars Born, Lady Gaga, and that song, I was like, what are you doing? But yeah, Shal's gonna win this.
Yeah, I would seriously be genuinely surprised
Yeah.
if Bella didn't win it, and like I don't even know another song on there that like even comes close to the.
Yeah.
Like goddamn, that thing was everywhere. It's still everywhere.
Oh, I heard it today. Yeah. Best original score: Black Panther, Black Klansman, If Beale Street Could Talk, Isle of Dogs, and Mary Poppins. I think this one's up in the air. I think this one, honestly, when we talk about stuff being good in film, I think this year for score was pretty weak, and I really like Black Panther's score, but most of these, even Black Klansman, I remember liking, but never thinking, man, that is one of the best scores I've heard. Same thing, Hereditary for me was a big one. I should have been in some of these technical awards, but I would go Black Panther just because like I like Killmonger's theme. I like when he has those visions, when they both have visions with their dad, they have like this big operatic music going on. So I feel like you got like superhero music, you got operatic music, you got African type of style music. So I feel like there's a wide range of different things. So I would go that, but I don't feel strong. Like if it loses, I'm not going to be, I don't think it's a run where like it's not like it's the Dark Knight and then a bunch of them. To me, it's like I like Black Panther just because I remember it the most, but the rest of these, I don't know. The only one I don't want to win is Mary Poppins because I fucking hate Mary Poppins. So.
I like Black Klansman.
Yep.
Only because while I was watching it, it stood out to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time like that bass riff came in, like when he was walking somewhere, I'm like, oh shit, this is a cool song. Panther was I think that's gonna win. Yeah. Honestly, but I want Black Klansman to win. I don't think Black Panther doesn't deserve to win. I thought it was I was like, oh, this is okay. This is like a very competent score. This is like an 86%. There is nothing wrong with it, but nothing in it was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I dig that. I'd listen to that after this movie ends.
Yeah.
I think Black Panther's going to win because it seems like all the people that were involved in making. I know this is the soundtrack and that's not the score, but I think that often gets conflated. And I agree. I think a lot of people are like, oh, no, Black Panther was dope. Yeah. So I think Black Panther wins.
I love Kendrick Lamar. It's like some 7-year-old white person throwing on their ballot.
Yeah, it's like, I'm hip. My granddaughter told me to do this.
Yeah. Oh, so we're going to vote for Best Picture? Fuck those superhero movies. Let's see. Documentary, Free Solo, Hale County this evening. Minding the Gap, of Father, Sons, and RBG. Before we make predictions, I didn't prediction. My prediction for original score would be Black Panther. For documentary, one, I saw it. I agree with everybody. I'm surprised the 2 snubs with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I'm not sure if you saw that. That was good. But the biggest one, I'm not sure if you've seen it. If you haven't, you need to, is 3 Identical Strangers. That thing is, it's phenomenal. It's about these 3 guys who find out they were triplets. And I don't even want to tell you the rest because they all were about 17 when they find out and they meet up with each other. And the reason why they did not grow up together is fascinating, and it's like Nazi type like shit. It is crazy. You should watch it. I think it's only hour 20, hour and a half. I don't know where it would be. I know it was a CNN one, but it didn't get nominated, so I was really disappointed with that. I haven't seen any of these. I'm just going off Free Solo because that's my research. People have said it's between Free Solo and RBG because that's the Ruth Bader Ginsburg documentary. So I'm just gonna guess and go Free Solo.
I've only seen Free Solo, and it was really cool. Like I go rock climbing myself. It was dope. It was really, really cool.
Is that your choice?
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to win. That's my choice.
Yeah. Best animated feature: Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, Mira, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Spider-Man and Spider-Verse. Before you get your prediction or say anything, I want to hear your thoughts on Incredibles 2.
I did not like it.
Right?
I really wanted to. It was, and I'll admit, I'm not the biggest fan of the first one. I remember seeing it and being like, that was really cool. But like, the older I got, the more people like seemed to like, they really liked that movie. And it didn't really stick with me that way, but I watched it, and like, to me, the only thing that was cool was Jack. Everything else I thought was like, meh. Like, I picked out the plot from the get-go. Like, once you meet the brother and sister, it was like, okay, one of them's gonna betray it. I think it's gonna be the brother. And then the next scene, no, it's the sister.
They lay it on so thick.
Oh my god! Like, I just thought it felt like and this is kind of like my issue with like why I didn't necessarily like Wonder Woman and like why I didn't like Venom is it felt like superhero movies that were made like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I feel like Brad Bird wrote that right after The Incredibles and then sat on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like there was like a maturation in the story for everything that's happened since then with superheroes. I didn't think it was bad. I watched it and I was kind of like,
it's just that Disney stamp of, they can always make just a decent movie, right? At least score's going to be good, cinematography, like acting. That was that. Yeah, see, I'm somebody that I do love the original, and I was so disappointed in the second one. And the reason I asked is just because Dylan's the same with me. He was really disappointed. That's his favorite Pixar movie. But me and him, like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills to say Zoolander because everyone just fucking loves Incredibles 2. And I don't get it because it's also... it's very much, it's like people want to complain about Force Awakens. Incredibles 2 is far more worse than Incredibles as Force Awakens. As far as like, if you were to watch them back to back, they fall such similar beats and there's nothing new learned. You know why? Because it's like you said, there's no time jump. It's literally happening like 2 days later. So it's like all these issues they're talking about, like, I thought you resolved them. And so as someone that was a big fan, I was really disappointed. So for me, it's Spider-Verse all the way for a want, and I think it will win. I love Spider-Verse. Have you got a chance to see it yet?
No, I haven't. Mine's Isle of Dogs. That's what I want to win.
I know you are on your whole, superhero fatigue thing, but when you see Spider-Verse, you are going to message me and be like, dude, that was something great.
I've heard that everybody's seen it, says it's amazing. I just think Isle of Dogs is... I just really enjoyed it. And Ralph Breaks the Internet should not have been nominated. I don't know if there was another animated movie this year, but like Ralph Breaks the Internet was not good. Like, I
liked it a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
It was like a whole bunch of old people described the internet, and it was. I just thought it was a missed opportunity because I think the first one is really good, and this one I just saw and I was like, oh yeah, this is like a solid kids movie. But
wow.
I don't think it like broke away with it like the first one did. I just wrote a question about The Incredibles 2 that I was trying to figure out because I was kind of bored throughout the movie. Was that owl superhero? Was he actually an owl? What, or was that his costume, or like?
I don't know.
Like,
I've only watched Incredibles 2.
An owl person, and it's like that should be a better superhero if he's an actual fucking owl that can talk, like not just like some weird ass old dude that has like I don't know. But yeah, I've heard Spider-Man wins. I think it'll probably win. If it does, fantastic. But I would like Isle of Dogs to win.
Yeah, well, like I said, when you see it, let me know because it is fantastic. Spider-Verse. It was one we got to go see an early screening of, and I was pretty excited for it. But I didn't put that much stock in it. But yeah, it was fantastic. It's legit. I think like a top 3 it's top 5 for sure. When I said Black Panther, maybe Spider-Verse for sure. And it's funny, for me for pulling my whole superhero fatigue is a myth. This is gonna be, if it wins, first ever comic book movie to win a comic book, like just one of those ones. So I'm pretty excited,
Didn't Suicide Squad win for costumes, though?
I think Best Animated Feature means more than the costume design.
I don't know. I still think that piece of shit movie won it first.
Oh, boy. Thank God Heath Ledger won an Oscar back then, so he can say that. Best Foreign Language Film. This seems redundant, but Capernaum, Cold War, Never Look Away, Roman Shoplifters.
Yeah, it's Roma.
Yeah,
Roma.
Yeah. Let's move on. That's a prediction. Best Sound Mixing: Black Panther, Bohemian Rhapsody, First Man, Roma, and A Star Is Born.
So you saw First Man, correct?
Yes.
Was it good? I heard everybody saw it and nobody liked it.
It's fine. I would never say it's a bad movie. It was just I don't usually fall asleep in movies, and I almost did a few times. I was quite bored with it, and I say that about Roma. And I've almost fell asleep. Didn't fall asleep during Roma, but with First Man, I almost did. it was very bland, and it was just paint by the no. I shouldn't say paint by the numbers. It was just I didn't care about it. Ryan Gosling does a good performance. It's kind of like I said, that Disney stunt where it's a good movie, good score, good performances, but nothing made me remember it to the extent from like a week later, be like, oh, this scene was great. This scene, the best scene, and I will give them credit, is when they do land on the moon. Spoilers. When they land on the moon, that shot really well, and that's really cool and really well done. But other than that, I could not believe this was the same guy that made Whiplash and La La Land. Not the fact that it was bad, it was just I just didn't care about it at all. And those two films that he's made, I love those films to death for different reasons.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I love La La Land. I'm excited to see what he does next. But yeah, First Man, I would never say you need to see.
Fair enough.
But I could see it legitimately winning this because the scenes where they do takeoffs and tests, those are intense, and the sound of them is really good. But this one, it's tough for me because I could see it going a lot of places. But I think I'm gonna go. I think I will go First Man. I honestly do. Like, I could see Black Panther, but I don't think so. I think sound editing would be Bohemian, which we're going to talk about next, just because if people that don't know, sound mixing that's once everything's done and you kind of raise some stuff and you lower other things. Sound editing is when you put in like someone stomping, someone's like they're talking, like you put in the actual effects. So I could see Bohemian winning for that, but I think sound mixing, I will guess First Man for my prediction.
Okay, I'm going to go with I guess like Bohemian Rhapsody and A Star Is Born kind of have such an advantage because it's literally about goddamn music.
Yeah.
Like it.
That's why Bohemian is my sound editing pick.
Also, like Star Is Born.
What? You're gonna pick Star Is Born?
Star Is Born.
And then sound editing.
Bring down Bohemian. So.
Yeah, sound editing. That's why I'm going Bohemian, just because those last 20 minutes of him at Live Aid. That's why I think his sound editing, Bohemian will get sound editing.
Okay. Also, just as a side note, isn't Bohemian Rhapsody a terrible title? Like, it seems like that was the first one they went with. They're like, that's not bad.
They did that just for the money, right? Just to like.
Oh, without a doubt, they did it for the money.
What's your prediction for sound editing?
I kind of want to go A Quiet Place.
That would be great. That would be great. Great movie. I saw that really late in the year. Loved it.
I actually saw that opening weekend in an empty theater, and John Krasinski, another guy, his first directorial debut. I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
I thought there were like some scenes in there that were like, oh, I haven't seen that before. Like a lot of it was pretty reductive, but I thought it was really good. But in terms of like sound editing, I think the movie about being quiet and when very subtle noises like make you just go,
yeah.
Or maybe it was just more noticeable.
True, but I still think you talked me enough into that. That would be my want. I'm still for my prediction going Bohemian, but that would be my want. So your prediction's Quiet Place?
Yeah.
Okay. What was I gonna say? I hate that he's doing a sequel to that because I feel like I want him to do other stuff, and I don't know. So
stop being that weird John Ryan on Amazon that I keep seeing that I will never watch.
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. This looks like a show that my parents would be like, no, it's so good, and I'm like, I'm never gonna watch it.
I hear it's good, but I'm not gonna watch it either.
Yeah.
First production, best production design, Black Panther, The Favorite, First Man, Mary Poppins Returns, or Roma. I think this is between Black Panther and The Favorite just because you got bigger, elaborate sets. Black Panther's like the other world thing, and The Favorite is kind of like what you talk about, where look at it, it looks so great because it's old style. I'm gonna go The Favorite just because I feel like Black Panther can suffer from having lots of CGI at times, and that could take away from it. So my prediction's gonna be The Favorite.
I'm gonna go with The Favorite as well, and I think Black Panther. I think the CGI does not look great. Like the one scene that always, like the first fight scene when T'Challa fights the really really big dude who's like, what's his name? M'Jabo? No.
M'Baku.
I thought like that waterfall area was like, it was like, oh, that's definitely not real.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'd give it to The Favorite.
Yeah.
Although I don't think Roma, their sets were very noticeable, and I'd say in particular when they go to that mansion, like, and there was that weird fire.
Yeah.
There's just like so many set pieces that like really stand out in my memory of being like very impactful. So I could see Roma kind of upsetting The Favorite and winning in that one, but I think The Favorite will win.
Yeah. Best visual effects, what we were talking about. No Black Panther, so there you go. Avengers Infinity War, Christopher Robin. I like that movie a lot. First Man, Ready Player One, and Solo, A Star Wars Story. I'm going...
Ready Player One should not be on there. I thought Solo... Okay, so I did watch Solo. I hate watched the hell out of it, and that movie sucked. Everything about it was terrible.
Even Donald Glover?
Yeah, I did not like Donald Glover at all in that movie.
He's fantastic.
And I'm a big Donald Glover fan. Only because you could definitely tell that there was two different movies. There was like there's one scene where there's like a fire and he's like, "Hey, that's my cape," and you're like, "What the hell was that, Donald Glover?" Like there were like scenes where you're like super, and then there was that whole thing was just a jumble. But I thought the CGI was super spotty. There was the stuff that or seemed to be that Ron Howard did looked great, and what Phil Lord and Chris Miller did, you could tell I was like, I bet you they didn't put that much work into it because it seemed like really quick and like the coloring was all off in all the scenes. And like that movie was all over the place. Like you could tell that two different movies were there, and it was all cut together. And just from that alone, it shouldn't be nominated. And I thought Ready Player One had moments where the CGI was really, really good, and then other moments where it was like, man. And a lot of times it was like, I feel like this whole movie is CGI.
I feel like that's the reason it's getting the award, because I think Ready Player One, there's some moments that don't look the greatest, but I think it's just because most of the movie's CGI. So, I don't know, I'd have to look at it again. I've only seen it twice, and I've never paid that much attention to the visual effects to be like, I think it deserves to be there or not. For me, I think this is I think maybe First Man could get it, because they might like realistic. For me, it's a clear-cut Infinity War just because of Thanos. You know, like the way he looks. Yeah, I just think there's so many times I've watched Infinity War, many times, but I think Brolin at so many times, when we have the stuff with Will Smith and the genie, it's a nice mix.
Yeah, that looks bad.
It does.
Oh my God.
With Thanos, though, it's a nice mix of a comic book character and Josh Brolin, and I just feel there's times on screen where, yeah, there's the occasional time where he's out in the field or he's fighting, he looks a little fake, but there's some close-ups they do on him where it looks like it's skin. It looks like it's actual skin, and it's nuts. It reminds me of like how Gollum was back in the day where I bought that. So that's why I feel like it should win. I liked Christopher Robin's effects too, but I feel like just Thanos alone, Infinity War had it. So
I'm going to go Infinity War as well, but the only knock on Infinity War I would have is Peter Dinklage. His character looked very much rotoscoped in.
I agree with you. I did not. That is legitimately my only, I won't even say con, it's my nitpick with Infinity War that I don't like. It's just, that takes me out of it every time. One, just because, like, I agree with you on the effects, and two, it's just, well, three, it's because it's, okay, hang on. I'm mixing up my numbers. One, the effects. Two, I think it being Peter Dinklage threw me off as far as it being like a celebrity. I always just see Peter Dinklage. And three, I know it sounds like offensive, but it's like having like a little person playing like this big person, and it's like this weird kind of like reverse thing they were going for. I'm not a fan of that pick at all in that movie, which is a shame because I love him.
It was odd. I'd say my only complaint about it in the Infinity War is, spoilers, is the snap is all the Avengers that are still alive. I'm like, oh, they killed all the ones that I liked.
100% disagree. You got Cap, you got Iron Man, you got Thor. Thor's a fucking badass nowadays.
Thor I like, but I was like, when the Guardians went, I'm like, oh, I really like them. And then it was like, oh, I like Spider-Man.
What about Iron Man? Cap.
I think Robert Downey Jr. is I think he's great, but there's other characters in there that I just think are more interesting. Like, only because, okay, Robert Downey Jr., I've seen you in every Avengers movie and all your own movies for the past, 10, 15 years now?
Yeah.
I get it. You're fantastic. I want more Taika Waititi telling Chris Hemsworth to be as funny as he possibly can.
I think it's gonna happen. I think the only reason you got that OG cast is just because this is gonna be the end for a lot of them. So I think.
Yeah, and I get why, and that also slightly took me out of it because it was like, oh, okay, you're giving them the send off. Also, it's like some of the actors you killed, we know that they've signed on for more movies.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like you're like, what's gonna happen? Actually, when it happened, all I could think of was you in my head being like, but Sebastian Stan has got so many more movies he signed on for. And I'm like, oh, he's coming back.
That's what makes Endgame great, though, because Hemsworth, Downey right now, they don't have any signed on for that. So that's what's going to make Endgame like, oof, I can't wait. I'm only a few months away, so.
Yeah, that's probably like one of the few movies I'm actually excited for this year.
Yeah, I was trying to think if there are anything. What are your? I just want your quick thoughts. What are your feelings on Episode 9? I know you didn't like Last Jedi, but with JJ coming back,
another Star Wars movie in theaters. I will not give my money to Disney. I will never see another Disney movie in theater.
Wow, you're not even gonna see Endgame for that big screen experience.
I will wait until a decent pirated copy comes out.
Wow, I don't support that here on the Geekverse. Nothing but iTunes purchases and.
That's fine. If it would come, like if it all dropped like simultaneously, I wouldn't pay for it. I don't think they deserve more money.
So you're not gonna get.
if they wouldn't have bought Fox, I would have gone to see it. But
So-
I don't like that they're buying Fox, and that means they're going to own like 40 to 50% of all cinema revenue. And monopolies are bad, and it's always bad for the consumer.
It's not their fault. They're just trying to, make that money.
It is entirely their fault.
Actually, no. Actually, it's what is his name? Rupert Murdoch's fault, who is selling it just because he said he doesn't want to deal with a film company anymore, right? So really, he did not need to do that. That was all him, just wanting to do with Fox News and being the sports, so.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's probably where it's like easy, make your money, no operating cost.
So are you not?
I'm excited to see Endgame.
Endgame, yeah, End War. That's the third one.
Yeah, End War. Because I want to see what happens, but like, I will not see Star Wars. I have no desire to.
Wow.
Honestly, like The Last Jedi absolutely killed everything. Like, okay, so I liked The Force Awakens when it came out.
JJ's back.
I really enjoyed it. I didn't mind JJ. I thought Rogue One was a missed opportunity. I thought it had some cool parts in it, but I didn't think it was great. Solo is a terrible, terrible movie. And The Last Jedi was a piece of shit. It was like, okay, the only thing that is good about that movie is Kylo Ren's story. Everything else, like, so with Kylo Ren,
he's fantastic.
Rey,
he's so good.
Like, you got like that Yoda thing on the island, so everything on the island except the weird titty thing. But I was like, whatever, it's Star Wars. So like Rey's story and Kylo Ren's story was interesting. Everything else was terrible.
I can agree
Everything
with you.
Like
I'll agree with you that for me it wasn't
the exact same spot that they were at the start of that movie, and it was like, oh, so nothing mattered.
No, they're
like,
not.
yeah,
I would disagree.
Well, the fight scene was really cool, and like they had it in the throne room, but like, why build up Snoke? Like, there's all these things like, why build up Snoke if he's not going to be anything?
But you can't say that the exact.
It's Star Wars. There's no depth to the Star Wars universe. Let's not pretend that there is. And this is what happens when you artificially try to give it depth. There's nothing. There's nothing here.
You can't say it's the exact same when you have Kylo Ren, who's like the apprentice at the beginning of the movie, and then at the end, he's like leading this whole thing, right? Like, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I take umbrage that lots of things do change at the end of Last Jedi. I think people just.
I mean, they were like physically in the exact same spot. Like the ship, they did not move, and it was like you're in space. I don't want to watch a slow ass.
I see what you mean. Okay.
Like it was like things like that. But it was like, why? Like who thought that was a good idea? Like this is not why I'm watching Star Wars.
Rian Johnson.
Pod racing or cool space battles. That's what I want to see.
Pod racing.
Come on.
I don't want pod racing.
I want to see a lightsaber fight. Where the fuck was that?
You got a lightsaber battle. You didn't get a fight, but you did.
It doesn't count fighting the vibro blades. I'm talking a legitimate. I wanted two people to go at it, and not that ghost ass Luke Skywalker.
You sound like such an old curmudgeon Star Wars fan.
No, I just want Star Wars to admit what it is, and it's fun, and I want Star Wars to be fun.
Yeah, but then you had people that did that with Force Awakens, where it's like you got those lightsaber fights, that's not there, and just it's the exact same. So you're never gonna win. We're never gonna.
Nobody's ever gonna win.
I'll ask
and that's the issue with Star Wars. It doesn't matter. You could literally come out with a perfect movie, a movie that would destroy every one of these movies in the Oscars, and there'd still be people like, well, I really like the scene on Kamino when Obi-Wan was shot, and you're like, shut the fuck up.
And you'd be one of them.
No, I just want it to be a decent movie, and it fails in script writing every single time, and it fails.
That's so hyperbolic. That, like, especially when
hyperbolic. There's no gravity in space, Travis. How do bombs drop?
Who cares? It's fantasy. It's a fantasy movie. These are people that can move rocks with.
I'm trying to put in like all these deeper meanings to things that you can't.
No, you can still do that. It's about characters and lore and mythology. But I don't care if a fucking bomb drops at this speed or not, because these are guys with laser swords. They can shoot lightning out of their fingertips, and you fuckers are worried about like lobbing shots and whatnot. Come on.
That's what makes it fantastical, is that there's rules in a universe, right? It's like Harry Potter. Why is it scary? Or like why is the magic scary? Because you know how it works. It follows a set of rules that is applicable across the scenario. Same with Lord of the Rings. You know what the rules are, it sets it out. Whereas with Star Wars, and like it all includes the expanded universe, everybody's like, I think it should be like this. No, let's add this. And it's like, no. Pick something, go with it. Star Trek, it picks it and it goes with it. It's a consistent rule. And I think that's important in those movies. Like, what was that horror movie that came out? It was with the STD.
It Follows.
It Follows. Yeah, so It Follows was great because you're like, I know what the rule is. Until about 3/4 of the way through, when there was a naked dude on the roof, you're like, I don't get it anymore. Can it move like that quickly? And then you start like second guessing everything, and then the whole movie magic.
Well, you showed me the Star Wars movie previously that had these bombs that were dropping and really slowed the gravity.
No,
You know.
you know that there's no gravity in space, so it makes no sense.
It's not real space. It's not a real thing. It's not a real thing. They can work however it wants to be space. You know why? Because it's a fantasy movie.
But we know how space works. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a rule. I know it's a fantasy universe, but like
we don't know how space works up there. It's a fake. It's a fake world.
Like, I know it's a fake. Obviously, there's obviously not all these different aliens too. But it's like, if you have rules in this universe, because we know that there's upside down and everything else, because we've seen it in all the other space battles, like in the prequel trilogy. Okay, this is how this works.
But these are new bombs. They invented new bombs that are anti-gravity bombs. Boom, done.
Okay, then, but like, why do you have a beeper? Like there's just all this shit.
Oh no!
Like retro tech. It's dumb. We don't need to talk about it. But like, seriously, episode 8 was it? Episode 8 is one of like the worst films I've ever seen.
That's such a lie. Because I feel like worst films is like you got bad cinematography, bad score, bad acting. You can say whatever you want about any choices with Luke, blah, blah, blah. There, no one's bad acting in that movie, you know?
Rose.
That's another can of worms. What I was going to ask you to move on, and then we'll get to these last few categories. Are you going to be checking out the Star Wars TV shows like The Mandalorian?
No.
What about Obi-Wan?
Nope.
You're not going to watch a single thing. Even people say this is...
Man. That movie, and I'm not being, like, hyperbolic at all. Like,
so you're not going to see Episode 9?
Probably not.
You're gonna.
On it, like, I didn't see Solo in theater. I didn't feel the need, like...
But that's what I mean. It'll pop up.
There's not any video games that are out that are, like, exciting me at all. Like, both Battlefront sucked. And it was like, wow, I really like Star Wars growing up. But now it's like, okay, it seems to be like there's really no depth to this universe. Let's try to do it. Oh, it sucked. Like, ever since Disney took over Star Wars, I like The Force Awakens. I know a lot of people don't, but, like, I think that's a really good movie. And it's just gone downhill since then. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't care about Star Wars. It expanded too quick with Disney when I had, like, BB-8 oranges and everything else. And, like, hey, I'm not immune. Right here. Grab my desk. Within hand's reach. BB-8. I fucking love The Force Awakens. And I still could not give a shit about what happens with Star Wars now. It's totally ruined it for me.
JJ's gonna fix it all. I trust in that. You're gonna be curious, and what's gonna happen is if Episode 9, let's say it comes out and everyone's just fucking raving about it, you might not see it in theater, but there's gonna be a part of you when it pops up on Netflix or something, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna watch this because you're gonna want to know what JJ has in store.
Yeah, you know what? If it pops up on Netflix, I'll hate watch it like I did Solo.
Why hate watch it? Give it a chance. It's JJ. What if he fixes those things you didn't like in Last Jedi?
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's not, but and I hope for your sake that it goes well. But like, I'm done with Star Wars. I don't care anymore.
Wow.
There's nothing about Star Wars that I find appealing anymore.
Wow. Best film editing: Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, or Vice. This is tough. I think I'm gonna go. I think the two are Vice or Bohemian. Bohemian just because you had those switches directors kind of at the end point. That's kind of tough. But then Vice. I think when we were talking about Vice being kind of a fun, different film, and we were saying maybe screenplay doesn't go that way, I think editing could have a lot to do with that.
I think you're right. I think Vice takes it, and that's the one that I want to win on this one.
Yeah, so I'll go Vice.
Or I think Black Klansman's quite choppy.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So like, I'm gonna go Vice.
Best animated short, which you've apparently seen all these. Animal Behavior.
All of them, but I've seen 3. I've seen Animal Behavior, Bow, and One Small Step.
Animal Behavior, Bow, One Small Step, and Weekend, and what's the other one? Wait. Oh, Late Afternoon. I'll go Bow just because I've seen it and it was cute and it was better than Incredibles 2. So.
Dude, Bow was adorable. It was wonderful. Like, it was really good. Animal Behavior was all right. After it kind of ended, I was kind of like, oh, okay. Also, that was the Canadian one too. So props. It was made in Vancouver, and so like I hope Animal Behavior wins, but I think Bow's gonna win.
Yeah.
Bow is really goddamn cute.
Yeah. Live action short. So this is where we can take some guesses. Detainment, Fave, Marguerite, Mother, and Skin. I'm gonna go Marguerite because it sounds nice.
I'm gonna go Mother because it sounds ominous or really lovely.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, our last award, Best Documentary Short: Black Sheep, Endgame, Lifeboat, A Night Out at the Garden, and Period. End of a sentence. Okay, I don't know.
Period. End of a sentence.
That's what
I think that's what's gonna win. That's the one that everybody's been talking about.
I'm gonna go. Black Sheep just to be different.
You're gonna be the black sheep.
100%. You know, they go in there and do that. Well, there we go. We did it. We had some fun. Talked about some random stuff. Talked about, always Bryan Singer somehow comes up. Last Jedi. Tons of different avenues. Anything you want to say as we end this episode?
No, but I don't think I've ever been more excited for the Oscars.
Wow.
Not because I actually want to see the Oscars, but I think it's going to be a shit show.
I agree.
And I can't wait to watch this live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that they also just fucking say the wrong name again.
Oh, no.
I hope that this is like an absolute train wreck because I think that'd be funny. And this kind of sounds like no matter what happens, it's going to be a shit show. And I'm very excited to witness this as entertainment.
Bohemian Rhapsody is your winner. Wouldn't that just be crazy? And then they run up and
honestly, I think if that won, I think I'd stop watching the Oscars.
I would start doing what you do with Star Wars. I would start hate watching them then. I was pretty close. I was pretty close last year when Logan didn't get nominated. That one hurt me. I really lost a lot of, so that's why I take this Black Panther. Just like fuck all you. Logan should have been nominated. Dark Knight should have been nominated.
Woman.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, I want to thank you very much, sir, for tuning in on this because I have friends and people that see them here and there, but I know you're a big film buff, so and this was lots of fun to one just catch up with you personally for the cast, but two talking film. Yeah, I miss having you here. I said one time next time you're in town. If not, what we should maybe do is I'll try and get Kyle on a Facebook one, and we should try and do a 3-way of this and reunite the dynamic duo because we haven't done that in a while, and I think that could be fun. So maybe in summer I'll hit you up or. Yeah, well, you always talk about how you're going to be not busy, so there you go. That's what I'll do.
Yeah. Well, last summer I just had no money. It was like, I'm bored, and it was like, well, I can go do something. Well, I don't really have that much money, so good luck for me this year. Hopefully, it is different, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I want to thank you again for
talking a lot more.
Yeah,
fire again.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time out of your day, though. So.
Oh no, dude, no problem at all. It's a Wednesday. What else? I'd be playing Red Dead Redemption is what I'd be doing.
Great game.
You play Red Dead Redemption?
Of course. Had to.